do me a favor, huh?
Yeah, he did drink a whole lot. I've never seen him. Or DUI.
Did it?
Whoops.
for us this week, so we'll go yellow.
Yellow, what turn?
You got to pick turn too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try to hit
Let's try the other one.
Not a pistol on the 7th.
No, we're yellow, we're red.
Yep.
Unless you guys wanted rocks instead. Just so they want rocks.
We'll try now.
You know something I know?
I've
been doing that. I've been doing that all weekend.
All right,
Remember,
you guys
you
take
can
yellow,
deal
and in
with it.
turn we'll take red. Obviously, I'll turn second.
Oh,
red.
there's scratch in my head. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Oh,
No, we're not good,
Yeah.
but we're ready.
Red out turn. So who's from the Connecticut club?
what's that?
You're at the Connecticut club, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
New York. Yeah.
Jared.
Bill.
Bridgeport, I guess. Bill.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Game time.
I think it would have been great. Where do you guys stay when you're in town?
The Kiwi?
Downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where'd you guys stay?
I got a house about a mile from here, so
Oh, okay, nice.
I stay there when my wife lets me.
Well, he's just out from out of town. You guys are local.
Yeah, Mark's from Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Stopera's from
Are we first?
New York, the Evil Empire.
I got no idea. I'd yell at Kevin, but I don't know.
Those are good looking
They are
shoes.
big, by the way. That's pretty fun.
Testing. All right, I'm on.
I like that.
Imagine being you got these all.
You got me on here? Yep.
All right,
Oh,
so
geez.
we're here on draw five, right? Draw 5 of the
Yep.
2019 St. Paul Cash Spiel. I'm joined by Alex Agri,
Correct.
Nee Carlson, a
That's
St.
me.
Paul standard here. So we're just getting started. We've got Stopera versus, or Smith versus Stopera. They're both undefeated teams. They're just kind of doing their practice rocks and the
Undefeated or
defeated.
defeated?
What's the opposite of undefeated?
Winless, but that's kind of
Winless.
a mean way to say it.
Yeah, unwinning teams. A lot of pressure on this match.
Someone's going to get their first win after this one.
Yep. The
Starting off with our draw for hammer here.
Smith's team actually has had a couple really tight matches. Today, just at the earlier draw, he played Luke Violet's team, junior team, really good team, and they went to extra ends, and Luke ended up winning it, but it was close. Bill Stopera is always a fun person to have on the mics because he is humorous, as is Jason Smith, and it looks like we have Jared Allen also mic'd up. Although I can't really hear either of them.
I can't hear them at all either. I wonder if I'll have to get them to turn their microphones on.
Wait. Can we talk about how you fell?
Oh, there we hear them. I just got to crank them up a little
So I
bit.
guess Matt's not coming.
I think we also have Kevin Johnson on Bill Stopera's team mic'd up. At least he was giving me a testing 1, 2, 3 earlier.
What?
They can see us sitting up through the upstairs windows, so they take a peek up here, and I know some of these guys pretty well, so they're laughing and joking around, and it's going to be a fun one to listen to.
Hit the broom, Billy.
Digging these outfits, bro. I'm digging it. That was 13-3 hog to hog. Like 80, 85.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, the further you throw it out, the more
Mark
it
Bolger is plays lead on their team, but he is in the house with Jason Smith at the end. So, Alex, thanks for doing this.
Not a problem. It's kind of
This
fun.
is a little different
I
style
was hoping to
shooting.
make it down to watch some of this event this weekend, since I'm not playing women's this
88.
year.
What'd you have?
It turns out I'm home a couple extra weekends, and it's kind of fun.
When you talk, can you hear yourself in your mic?
I
You had
can.
90, I had 80.
Same?
I can't.
Not the same way?
It's like, for some reason, my right ear stopped
Same way
working.
we hit it.
Oh, weird.
It's a win.
I can hear you.
Excellent.
You know that. What was that one, 85?
I had 85. Oh, I had,
That's perfect then,
I had
85 is fine.
87. I had 87, he had
Okay,
93.
this is Bill Stopera's counting draw here. They're thinking it's a little light. They got on that sweep really quick. But there's no one in the house for this because they're playing three-handed today. So they're calling that line from the shooting position.
Bill told me that their strategy is the first game that they win, he'll stop skipping.
Hope you got a big tape measure.
And I said, oh, that's interesting. That's different than most strategies.
I say most people you
Oh, dang it.
you keep rotating until you win.
Yeah.
Although I've
Or-
seen people do league,
I thought
but
this was
then they
a
play
different- I thought
16
this
games,
was
like it's a
one
16-game season, and
we
you
were making-
you skip until you
we were making
lose,
fun of
Right.
you, buddy.
and then you change. So
I was on my way to,
I was like, what do you
on my way to dinner. I'm like, oh.
I was like, what are you, 50 cents?
Yeah. Yeah, give me the new sticker on the
What are
bottom.
you in the rap game?
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't we have flat brims?
if you hear them down at the other end, it sounds like they're having more fun
gonna start
discussing
jumping.
hats
I'm
than
not
their
so-
upcoming
I'm not
shot
so
here.
proud.
I wonder if that has anything to
I grew
do
up
with
in North
their
Cal, yeah.
extremely winning record that they've had going for this
right.
weekend.
Jared, last
Getting
night
down
I
to
was
business.
trying to get Jared and Jason to do a match together, commentate. And he told me that he didn't want to do it because he said, I don't know what to do after the second shot.
Right to the forward, guys.
And I was like, that can't be true.
A little more handle. Mine's good, right to the button.
We're there.
Safe
We're
to
there.
say you've got a free weekend
We're
next
there.
Yep.
It is interesting to see these guys. So I've curled since I was really little. The broom used to be taller than me, and I'm seeing these two down here, and the brooms come up to like
Yeah.
belts.
Yep.
That's not
They really have to
sweet.
bend way over.
That's probably about as centered on the button as you can get.
That is a,
It's like a perfect circle.
I've never seen you make that before.
That's. I wish we had the lasers to find out where it's really at.
Smitty's wishing we could do the 2-point measurement that tells you exactly how centered that rock is on the button. That's the method that we use for our national competitions and such, because people started getting so close to the center, they wanted to know how dead center that rock was on the button, and I think that one might have been really close to 0 inches. It's definitely less than
You're
1.
supposed to put it in the hack.
How do they do the
Those
2-point
days are
measurement?
over.
I can't
They
kick
have
out hard enough
spots
anymore.
drilled at 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the house, and then they do 2 measurements. They entered in an iPad that does some sort of math that's, something. Someone created it.
I've got
just
the
put in the
hot
2 numbers, and it spits out how centered it is.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, you can get them with the vents now.
You just put a drill to it,
I don't know what they do.
All right, so I should keep track of some things here.
Excuse me.
Okay, so we're getting started, and that would be Team Smith with Hammer in the first end. We'll see if that
Alrighty.
gets them a good start for this game.
Good for us.
Mind if I take this?
Let's have a good, fun game.
Mind if I take
Should
this
be
one?
there. Check out,
I'm
buddy.
just going across the sheets I like writing down the colors of the rocks and who's playing.
He was.
That's
Smitty was a
3 straight games that he's put it
390.
in by an inch.
Would you have one, Mike? 390? No, on his button draw. Yeah, 90.
He doesn't even want to hit it.
So like a
common-
You don't even want to
400.
hit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you after the
So I'm
game
not
when
sure how
I'd
many
hit
of you
it.
are watching that don't
no
curl,
sweeping, I
but
mean.
these numbers they're talking about are a speed that you go
Right
between the
Where we
back
at?
line, which is behind the red
Ignoring
circle, to the thick red line.
Right here.
So
Mine's good.
400 would be 4 seconds even.
Yep.
When they're saying 90, they're talking about 3.9 seconds.
Did you ever hear
Hard.
about anything?
All the way. Far as it goes.
That is-
Far as it goes. Good, Mark. A guard? Fuck yeah. What kind of game you playing?
What?
Uh-oh.
Balls in the wall steel first end? You already know.
So some of the other games on sheet 1, we have Farrell versus Podol.
68
Sheet
with
2,
discount.
we have Potter versus Rhyme.
Yeah.
Sheet 3, Brundage versus Runin. Sheet 4, Hojan versus Sinnott. Sheet 6 is Clausen versus Corbett. And sheet 7 is Burr versus Meraki. Meraki?
Markey.
Markey. Meraki is a type of networking appliance.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Mark.
Dominic Markey, he's Swiss, so in Swiss they have a couple extra letters, and it's the M and then the
where we
A
going?
with
What's
the
the
two
call?
dots over it.
There.
The umlaut?
Yeah, when we translate that to English, it gets an AE.
Yep.
They are, those teams are both
I think it's
undefeated.
390.
They wouldn't even bring the TV crew out for us.
Last time he played here 2 years ago, and he was complaining about the backstops in St.
I
Paul.
got 400.
Oh, yeah, St. Paul's one of the
What'd you
shortest
get?
clubs that exists.
What'd you get?
I never have a
Backboards
problem
are
with
the
that.
What'd you
closest.
get? You had a 407. Okay.
Go ahead,
You
yeah.
gotta go. Oh! It died.
Little,
All the way. All the way. Shouldn't get around it. Hard. Yeah, he was just wide. We couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
He's got it out there. We couldn't touch it. He just got it out there. We couldn't.
Yeah.
Just got a little wide where we couldn't sweep it. Is all.
Textbook.
No, it died. I'm telling you, it flattened out.
so
It
Mark
was
Lazar
going
is
all of a sudden it was like,
delivering
oh.
his third rock.
Flat spots, right?
What?
So we'll probably hit now.
I think we
I'm
gotta
gonna
go
try to
hard.
draw underneath.
407 was light.
Yeah, this is it's a long day. Did they also just get off the ice?
Yep.
It's a quick turnaround with
Matt,
3
let's get
players.
that
You're
quick.
throwing lots of rocks, sweeping lots of rocks.
Well, the games are long too. I mean, like they shouldn't have taken. They had an extra end. They do have a night, an extra. It seems like an extra hour gap than they have in the past because they have a few less teams.
Which should
But
give you
it-
more of a rest, but
yeah.
doesn't always pan out that way. So people are like, oh, there's more time, we'll just play slower.
Peel.
Okay, in the new 5-rock rule, this is the first time they can hit a guard rock. So they're taking advantage because there's lots of rocks in the center line. Those are getting in their way. We'll see how this
Well-
turns out.
Yep.
Isn't this the fifth rock?
Hard.
It's the first time that the team with
Roll that one.
hammer can hit.
Oh, well, that's good. Good. Just fine.
It's the 6th thrown stone,
Oh, all
but
right.
you can't. The hammer team couldn't peel until that one of their shots. So he got the one. He didn't get the ones behind
guard?
it. That's still a pretty good outcome.
Guard?
For him.
Yeah.
I've noticed that they've done a number of when
we've
they were
always got-
mostly on sheet 1 and 2 earlier on, and I was noticing they were calling. They weren't getting a lot of the doubles, but they were always doing the corner peel or
Yeah.
the run back double.
Yeah, double peels
Hold
and
back.
such like that with the spacing
Oh,
between
it's
the
still
rocks
there.
are a pretty tough shot. And I know these guys have been playing for a little bit, but it might not quite be in their wheelhouse yet.
Lock it up.
I'm sure Mark likes that sweeping.
Now we're losing line. Losing line.
These
Kevin was a
AP
little
coaches
bit
and their
heavy on
unique
that.
strategy, just welding everything.
Yeah.
For the 1472.
Same.
These ones are a little closer together here, so the chance of them touching those back 2 rocks is a little more likely.
Whoa.
I used to have the
Whoa.
same stabilizer as
Whoa.
Roos. It looked a lot bigger in my
Yep.
hands.
Nice.
All right, he got 2 out.
Yeah, that's a newer stabilizer that's shown up pretty recently. I think it was designed by Reed Carruthers, or at least he was the first one I ever saw with that one.
I think his name is attached to it. I lost mine at the Lupus Spiel, and I want to get another one, but I don't know where to find them.
Better give him some extra room. We know this
Not
one's
too
been
worried about
worked
it,
in.
I know that our club doesn't have the largest pro shop, but I know some of our other clubs in the Twin Cities do. They
Looks like it's
might have some on
close.
hand. Otherwise,
Mine's
the
good.
internet is a fantastic thing.
You know, it's hard to find sometimes. Like Brooms Up Curling Supplies doesn't have it.
Yeah, you probably have to go to the Canadian stores.
Yeah. I don't like supporting their economy. No.
Most
it's,
curling equipment is Canadian made at this point. We've got a couple.
I think most of
new
it's Chinese made, actually.
Okay, it's Canadian designed.
Yeah. Distributed.
Yeah, Canadian designed, distributed. I have no idea where they manufacture most of it. I don't see anyone. Oh no, these guys are.
Thought it might be a titch
What do you think?
slower
I think
on
they've
the
got the new
outside.
brooms
What
going.
do you think, Tyler? 400?
The end game. That looks like an end game there.
Yep.
With, I don't know, does he go by Michael or Mike?
Michael Roos?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what team he used to play for, which shows how.
There.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like he's got an end game broom, which is a new one designed by one of our U.S. curlers.
Hard mark.
That just got approved for play this last week, sometime really recently, so I'm assuming we'll see some more soon. Just a little narrow on that draw, maybe a little bit light, ran into that guard.
Yeah, maybe it might have been a little soft. I don't know. I'll give you a little more broom. That's fine.
Okay. Now wait, was there?
A little light,
Really,
too.
I'd shoot,
Think
but
so?
I
A
couldn't
little
see
light.
anything
So
back there.
that probably hurt it.
Okay.
I like hearing these guys try and figure out why they missed. You can't get better if you don't figure out what happened when things go wrong.
Straight
So
side,
it's
straight
good to
side.
hear.
Wow.
That's what I just tried to
go
tell
hard,
my
go
daughter.
Honestly.
Bend it.
All right.
She just says, I
you
can't
have on my
control
split?
why I get in trouble. I'm like, well, you
So
can
what do you
think
have on my
about it.
split?
He played for the
What do you have
Tennessee
on my split?
Titans.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
That's
That
correct.
one broke a lot harder
Yeah,
than
he
the
was
other
a O lineman, O tackle,
Mm-hmm.
What?
one of those.
I bumped it.
Yeah, it seems like that's a perfect, parallel
One I
Right.
gave a little too much.
for curling.
I said I'd try really
Control.
hard to stay out of his way.
Yeah. His curling zone picture is really intense. He looks like he's ready to run you over.
I have a feeling when you've taken football lineman pictures your whole life that kind of is the goal you're going for. Okay, so they're playing a hit and roll here. Doesn't look like there's a ton of room, so see how this turns out.
Whoa!
Playing control weight.
Close!
Never.
Yep!
Yes, Mark.
Narrow there and tossed it.
Hard!
Oh, he gets
Oh,
by
yes.
the top one.
Oh,
Hits and rolls. Very nice.
that was a
Great job.
nice
Perfect.
roll. Smitty called that one nice and close to that other guard.
Yeah, at first I was like, I wonder which one they're trying to go for. I was not paying attention to the broom. It's still poking out, though.
Yeah.
It's available, but I think if they hit it, they won't be in the rings there. Oh, they might be able to just get in.
Right.
It looks like Bill's going to play the run back with his own rock. This could turn out really nicely for him if he throws a good one here. He could make the run back and roll his shooter to the other side behind those 4 red guards. Then he's sitting with 2 rocks in the house. That's a good spot to be at this point.
Yep.
Whoa! 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 Off. Come on up. Okay. Got that.
Oh, just a little bit too thin. He loses that shooter and
shot.
bounces the run back stone off and rolls just out of the rings. Leaving Jason here, who I'll probably call Smitty
I think
for
we're right.
most
Pop
of the
that
game.
just a little more than
That's what
normal.
I've known him as for years.
Top 8.
It's leaving him a draw to behind all of his red guards. I think he's hoping to put it right on the side of the 4-foot there. See how he makes this after his draw for hammer that he made perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain of rocks will roll behind.
Still 6.
Then we're drawn, right? So,
Our only other option was to draw there too.
yeah, the hole was a little sketchy.
Top 8.
Oh, no.
I thought about it. I don't
The
consider it.
top 8.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 95.
I think that was the call.
You can hear Kevin and Bill debating if they called the right shot. When you miss, you always debate if that was the right call or not.
A little light. 400, so
Good. Top 8.
Smitty will put one back 4.
Top 8 only.
we're there.
Pretty good.
Mine's
We're
good.
there. We're there. Oh, it's there. It's there.
This rock's really starting to curl at the end.
It's there. Top 8.
He's got a
They've
little.
got a lot of extra guards to stay behind.
Stop. Dang it.
Yeah, nice and deep.
Kevin might have called that one. He said back 4
Where do you think it is?
when it was sliding down.
So you're probably 96.
Kevin and
97?
Jason have played with and against
So-
each other for most of their
kick it a
lives,
little
so they give each other a little bit of pokes here and there.
With that
It's
same
not,
number,
not
405,
uncommon.
I had him at 4. You had him at 94. So
You went sideways.
yeah, in that
Crazy
range.
how it finished.
I think that's enough.
Every sheet's been curling pretty good.
She won with
I've seen him drop.
Was it?
too.
straight her. So pretty much the same as it's been all day.
Yeah.
Intern going home on 6 just dove.
I like how he holds his mitten. His hand. Nice style.
You got hot on that?
That's a common one.
Probably
I see
straight
lots
side of
people
anything.
do. I don't know who originally started that concept, but it makes it so you don't lose your mittens. I know it's definitely helpful when you don't see as much in men's because you only have 1 or 2 people that are wearing mittens.
All the way through, Mark.
But in
All the way
women's,
through.
lots of us will have a mitt on, and you set them down, and then you have to figure out which one's yours. And putting on someone else's mitten is not particularly pleasant.
Yeah, it seems kind of gross, actually.
It is. So holding on to it makes sure that you don't lose yours or get it mixed up
It was
ever.
going so fast. There's no way that was staying there.
So Bill had good line on that draw, but just heavy. So we're
Say something
leaving
too, bud.
Smitty with a very similar draw.
Slower, so
They're
let's go the
taking
same
more
way.
ice to give
Yeah,
them more room around that
95 to
guard.
400. Perfect.
But Jared there is telling him it should be about the same speed that he just threw, so we'll see if he makes this one.
I got 95.
Okay, they were looking for 4 or 95,
Just go, weights there.
90, so
Weights
sounds
there.
pretty good.
Waits there.
It's running really straight.
It is
Weights
running
there.
really straight. This is the risk of taking a different path than your first rock. Lots of people will throw it down the same exact
Oh, we're
spot
good,
because
we're
he
good.
just made that shot.
Stop.
This time he took a little more ice,
Sorry, guys.
and it might have been a little quicker, or he might have done a
Oh.
little more weight, and it
No.
just
It was
slipped
a red.
right through a little too far.
Good force.
So at the end of 1, Smith scores 1.
All right.
Good in.
Right behind you, Roos.
I don't see any other
95. He had 90, 95.
scores on
With the
sheet
hair up.
sheet
With the- sounds like the
3,
fourth rock
which is
was
Brundage
wrong.
versus
Fly only
Runen.
white
They
with a slightly different
blanked
line.
the first end.
And then sheet 4, I don't know which team's which.
Textbook
Red
first
scored
inning.
1 on sheet 4.
Red is Sinnott.
400 puts us in.
Okay, so Sinnott scored 1.
Four,
Looks like
four,
over on
five,
sheet
zero,
1,
zero.
they
You went 90,
blanked the
95.
first end as
Zero on
well.
that, close to the pin.
That's
Yeah,
Farrell
I know.
and Podol.
One of us gets
Sheet
in at 1
2,
for 3.
Red
That's
got
the
1.
Collins gonna look like
Definitely
this.
have.
Looks like that is Potter.
Take your top 10.
Is that gonna be a
No, I
win?
think
90,
Sheet
95,
6 and
okay?
7 have lots of rocks in play and aren't quite done yet.
16-team playoff.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I'm for it.
And now the whole TSN world knows what I think about when I curl.
Light.
All the way in, right here.
Thanks, Kevin. Yes, we sure do.
2 guard.
Right here.
No. We're 2-3.
Top 4, yes. Yep.
No, I told you it's a 2 or 3.
All the way in. Far as it goes. Far as it goes. Yep. Good, Mark. That's fine.
Wow, that's impressive. Dragged it all the way in to make a biter.
All right,
What'd you have?
let's jump on him here. Get a 3.
Kevin's got his end plan going, trying to get a 3 here, starting with the corner guard, it looks like.
You're a little light. You're a
Weight's
little
good.
light.
It's a good strategy to visualize that at the
And we need a
beginning.
95, right? Yeah. We're good. Hey, that's better than through.
You hear Jared, they're giving the positive. It's better to be a little bit light on that draw to
Shot.
top 4 than it would have been to be through the rings. At least the rock's on the top of the house, it's usable. Good way to look at the positives.
Same throw. We're going to sweep it. Same exact throw. 410, yeah.
They have a lot of communication on their team.
They do,
By one person, though.
but that's okay. You don't, as long as everyone's agreeing, it's fine.
Well,
You hear enough responses
well,
from
we're there.
people.
See? They had 26 with a massive bump. That's back 12. That might be through. What's coming down?
Mine's right here.
What was coming down?
It's really interesting. They must be listening to
shot
games.
for 6.
I hear him say a massive bump,
Hard!
which isn't a super common
All right,
term to
we're gonna try something
use.
different this game.
For,
Don't look at your watch.
Make
the way he
Just see how it does.
added a little bit of weight to it at the end of his delivery.
They call that, I said, a super bump.
He said he said it's like a big bump or a
We
super
both do
bump.
that too. Like we both
So you like bumped up the weight a little
try and get a
bit.
visual.
We're watching the 426.
Some people call it
Well,
an
his
ad,
bump was so
some people
big
call it
we
an
thought it was
extension.
On mine,
There's
I
lots of
wrote
different
it
terms
down.
for it.
But like I think on Mark, let's just visually look at him.
Yeah.
I think we'll become better that way if we.
So Mark's going to try to get rid of these,
Yep.
some of them.
He's trying to get rid of both of them. Looks like he got there, and he
Get
stayed
it
as
out,
a
Billy.
guard.
Billy Stopera
spot.
doesn't quite get the
Good
sweep
job, Mark.
down.
Good hit.
Didn't quite get that one out of the rings, but it's not in a bad spot when they draw around that tight guard they have. That red one back there can be pretty useful as a backstop of a rock that their rock can jam on. So they got it behind the tee line, and that's really the important part.
3 guards. Yep. Yeah, no. 400, 405. You could be you could probably be between 405 and 410, honestly. One. 2. Whoa. 2. 3.
Just here.
I like hearing that he's updating the weight calls as the rock goes down the ice. He originally thought it was just over the hog line up there.
Nice,
And you
Mike.
hear him continuing to update 2
Nice
and
shot.
3 as the rock gets
What'd you
closer.
have time? You time it? Yeah, 420, yeah.
I don't mind that.
Hey, it's fast.
I'm okay with a short one.
He had you at a 418.
I feel like it's a little slower, but I
Whoa.
haven't. Times
I'd
haven't.
like to get- I'd like
They're
to get
really
nice.
going when they go, so slowing it down.
That was perfect.
We need it.
So Kevin's thinking this one's light, out of hand. He's sweeping. From our angle here, it looks like he's
Other
going to run
side,
into
Kev.
the guard.
Just short, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah, or go wide.
Right? Right short, yeah.
That's always a horrible
Like a 4 or
feeling
5.
when you're like, oh, I got to jump on it because it's just to get it over.
Yeah, 400, 405.
Yeah, and I'll rub Kevin a little. I know sweeping is not his favorite activity, so if he has to sweep the whole way, it's
I love
not the way
sweeping.
he likes to play his games.
You like it?
I think it's a really fun
Mike,
aspect.
right here.
You pulled back
Definitely
a
a
little
lot more
bit.
challenging than
I
you
didn't
think.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I always find it challenging because usually on Sundays I'll have a big whiskey before I go out,
It's dying.
and then it'll be metabolizing as I'm sweeping.
Yeah, that's no big.
Tough. I have a heart attack. Oh, nice draw.
Bruce is making a nice draw right around.
Into
Nice
the
shot,
8 foot.
Russ.
He's sitting right behind that guard. That's a really nice spot for him to be.
I'm telling you, you're hitting like it's like a 6-foot pass where just zoom. It's that glide path, really.
Great shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he came out quick.
Yeah, Kevin doesn't spend long once the shot's been called.
Yeah.
And also this rock is flying, which is pretty typical of how Kevin likes to throw his hits.
He almost got a
Got to
triple.
make that call to get all 3, Billy.
Good.
Sorry.
He says that. I don't know if he's still on camera, but he gave him a big grin right after. So he's
Good in, bro.
just,
We had to waste a rock, right? We had
these
to waste
guys
a
have
rock.
some fun with that.
When's your guys' play down and all that? Or do you have a play down these days?
Juniors sort of play down.
What?
Juniors sort of play down.
Okay. You're in. When's that? Nationals?
Imagine like,
Okay. So everyone else has a district or something?
Whoa, it's there. No,
Right here.
it's all there. Yes. Yes, go.
Yep.
Yes, go.
Yeah.
Go hard. We're top
Gotta be
12.
on, yep.
We're 2. 3. Go hard, Roos.
I think it's interesting that Smitty isn't super vocal. Like he isn't. Like you would have thought he would have yelled over.
And it felt heavy.
Well, so it's the sweeper's job to judge the weight. Smitty in the house there, he's just calling to make sure that they're on the right line, the right
split on the other
part
side.
of the ice.
But then they make this
they
good
weren't
and
anywhere
more
near
screwed,
that
so
guard, so he wasn't calling anything
be
because
deeper.
they were saying the weight was enough.
It wasn't his deal, right?
So that's not really his spot to be.
That's good, yeah.
But I always think
it's
like
really
Jared was the one that was calling it.
He was, and normally the person who's throwing should give like a little bit of feedback, but then the two people sweeping it are the ones that are really making that call on if they need to sweep or not. Not quite sure how that's functioning on this team. Jared's definitely the most vocal of the entire team, so.
Yeah, which is saying a lot with Jason Smith.
Yeah, he's on the other end though.
Yeah.
So he's making the decisions on where they should go and making sure that they, make it by the guards and giving the team
Nice
back.
draw underneath. Buried deep.
Yeah, it was a good one by Kevin. He just made it right by that guard.
That's why I don't
Where
like
does
that
Kevin
side of
curl?
Chris so much, so we can get them out.
405?
I
make
think
it.
he's playing here. I know he plays in
Let us go in
Frogtown.
there, just
He actually plays with my husband in Frogtown.
So he plays.
He's gone
Because
back and forth.
I play Brian on Tuesdays once a
It's
year.
all there. It's all
Yeah.
I wonder if he's on that team.
No, here Brian plays on Tuesdays. He's played with me, and he's also played the late draws.
It's all there.
Him and Kevin
Mark
play
if
on
anyone.
Thursdays in Frogtown together.
Go ahead, Mark.
Kevin's played on a handful of different teams here, different days. I don't know. I can barely keep my own curling schedule straight.
Nice. Good job. Back line.
Yep.
I need hard hogs, though.
That doesn't make a difference, does it, Bill?
All right.
What's that?
I had a request to turn your volume
Down
up.
on the corner like that? Oh, no.
Yeah, I knew that was deep.
No nerves?
Oh no, they don't really want to hear me, do they?
I can do that. Mark, tell me if that's better.
Yep, you got to go on that, I think.
I can't actually hear her at all because she's coming through my right ear.
Whoa!
Yeah, and then I, pause
just
talking
butter.
here as they're making that one. It's two nice shots by Kevin there.
Muscle Mark keeping it straight.
Giving
Overcooked
props
it.
to his sweeper.
Back line to hack. We'll just play
sweep.
this. Good throw, Kev. Good idea.
Already doubled my shooting percentage for the week.
Okay.
Back line to hack. Put on the
Unfortunately.
that few. We'll just kind of make that a little bit better. Try to roll under a little bit. Go back line to hack.
Tempted to roll that way.
He didn't have
I
to
was
make
worried
that
if I
shot.
roll that way, I'm leaving on a double.
That was my only thought. Like over here, if they bury one, we can still get to it, you know? If we put one where we did and they wailed on, we're screwed. So that was my only thought about going over there.
We just basically
Close.
had
Yep. Yeah. Whoa. 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 Loose. Loose.
Okay, that was a nice tap there by
Probably
Smitty.
put my gripper on.
Okay.
Huh?
Should probably put my
Same
gripper
back
on.
line.
Smitty just threw weight, so Bill's saying he's going to play the same thing. They're watching what the other team threw, trying to take similar ice, make the same shot here. I think ideally for them, they get a little bit more of a roll under the guard. Not sure how available that is. These guys cover the rocks when they're coming in, so I can't quite see how close they got to that guard.
Well, I got you turned up really loud. Oh, and now my headset's working.
I wonder if you just wiggle the connectors just enough.
Yeah.
A little more.
Okay, Mark's saying this weight's a little bit
I
up.
don't want to bend it.
Roll it.
He's having Mark sweep for the curl. Trying to not stick the red one on that back
job.
yellow.
Successful.
Successful, but they rolled their yellow shooter out to the open a little bit more. Makes it potentially an easier shot for Jason Smith here to try and get his rock all the way under those guards.
shot.
Yeah.
Full.
Unfortunately, drop a one.
Control. No, you're good. Move back.
So could he double that? Those two out?
Control.
Potentially, you'd have to hit the
6 inches
one
is
that the
halfway
broom's next
buried.
to really, really thin in order to contact the other yellow stone, and you'd lose your red shooter.
So
So
it
you-
wouldn't give you a benefit, really.
You wouldn't get a huge benefit. I mean, your back red one on the left side here would be the counting rock, but you kind of assume that your opposing skip can make a draw to the full 12-foot.
Yep.
This is hoping to make it so that he has to make it to the inside
Yes.
8-foot if he makes this shot well.
Whoa.
From here, I have no idea who's shot there.
It's pretty close.
Maybe someone will tell us.
I think red, though, it looks to me, but just a guess.
It's close enough they're looking
I don't
twice.
think it's going to change what we do, Kev.
Sounds like Bill's saying he's not
I
sure.
think it's up. I think it's up.
Jason says he thinks it's them.
I've never really thought much of you, so.
It's okay.
I don't think there's any way we can.
This is how Kevin
Roger,
rolls.
I can't tell.
I like that. I think I got to get on his team.
It's like about half.
Touch under
I
half.
think
That's touch.
What's
Touch
that?
over. I think it's them. You want to try it?
So they're looking at it. They think they can probably get to the edge of that rock. They only have to move it out probably an inch.
You're just playing T?
I think just T-line.
So they're going to try and
know if we
just
can,
touch that red one sideways and then roll their yellow rock in to try and get two here. They're playing T-line way. The upside of that is if they don't hit the red one, hopefully their rock stops right on the T-line and they still score their one.
Seems like a sound strategy.
Yeah, you may as well try it. I mean, no harm if you get the two. Two is pretty important here. The real goal is to make sure you don't give up one to Team Smith. When
Yep.
you're down two, that gets you in trouble.
Oh, they're
Looks like
jumping on
Bill
the-
might be light. He's really light. That's going to stop at about the hog line. So
Well,
he's
except
just-
he's giving it a push.
So
So
he's just giving that a push. He's conceding that he's never getting that rock
Give her
far
one
enough.
more shot. You okay giving that?
Sorry.
You okay giving him that, or you want to run it?
Whatever you think. It's right here. If you
We
want
can try it.
Okay, so they're going to measure those two rocks.
have you played on the ice yet this year?
I have not played on St. Paul's ice yet. I think it was just ready
If we weren't
the
0-3,
beginning of this
I
week.
wouldn't do this,
I was
but
out of town
I'm
last
desperate.
weekend in Denver. Denver hosted an awesome mixed doubles event for us, the Colorado Curling Cup. Probably the sweetest trophy I've ever seen.
I saw that trophy. It had antlers.
Yeah, and if you take a look, so Sarah Anderson and Corey Dropkin managed to win that event, so they've got some sweet pictures with the trophy posted. But I was out of town for that, and I think our ice just opened up then.
Who do you curl with in mixed doubles?
I am playing with Derek McLean again this year, so bringing that back from our Olympic trials adventure. But I haven't made it out to the St. Paul ice yet. Work gets a little bit in the way sometimes.
I played last Sunday. It was the first league night. Played over on sheet 4, and there's a little Dex rock right over the hog line
Yellow.
over there
Oh yeah,
in honor of manager Dex, who passed away this month or last month.
yeah, that was such a bummer to hear. Dex has been my man for years and years and years. I've been at this club basically since I was a little baby.
It's yellow by like a.
And
yeah, it's yellow. Yep.
Dex always used to give me Tootsie Pops. I'm surprised I didn't get in trouble for always having sugar when I came to the curling club, but
I thought it was your time.
it's always fun. So they did end up measuring that, and
I thought
it was yellow.
I thought it
So
was the whole time.
good practice to measure rocks when they look close, because Kevin was debating just calling it red and giving him that point. That would have been a
Was it the spirit of
Mistake.
winning?
pretty big mistake
We're
there.
both 0-3. There's no spirit of
Why didn't you
curling.
give that to us, Kevin?
I can't believe that.
I like that. Did Jason say it? We're going when you're 0-3. There is no spirit of curling.
No, that was Kevin. That was
Oh.
definitely Kevin that said that.
Wow.
Oh, it was you guys.
And that's why I'm a second. I would have given that to
It
him
was like
all day long.
hang around to the 14.
I'd give it to him just because I oftentimes don't like to take the time to.
I would have threw a totally different.
But that league is a little different.
League is a little different.
You're not playing for what's the top person? Well, they're not playing for it because they're only
They're not
3.
playing. They're not playing. Right now, though, they're playing for a little bit of pride. I mean, to end the round robin with an O on that first column kind of sucks. Oh, they probably got another game though tonight, don't they? Jeez, that's lots of games for people.
We know we're not capable.
Well, this
Oh,
is
no,
probably.
This is them. They're done after this. So yeah, would be no fun to end up with a goose egg in your first column.
Yeah, I didn't think it was us at all.
Mark on our web chat was asking about the early season ice, and it was cold. I can tell you that.
Oh well.
It was actually pretty swingy too, which is good. I kind of want to get out and try it because Craig was saying that these rocks have one side that he has sanded for this type of tournament, and the other side is what we use in league. And so he's going to switch them back because, like, now they cut more. They're going to for this. I kind of want to go out and throw a couple draws and just see how it. Because I've never thrown a rock that cuts that much. I don't think.
Right. I know he's had some times in league where he's gotten it to swing this much. It's a combination of how he makes the ice and the rocks. Lots of clubs now with the new rocks, they are double-sided, so they do keep one for more competitive events. Things like all of our corporate events and groups, they just bring a little bit of extra dirt onto the ice, and some of that dirt gets stuck in the rocks, and that can affect how much they curl. So it's sometimes it's easier to just make sure you have a side to flip to that's been played with more competitive curlers. There's a little less dirt. People pay a little more attention to it. But it's kind of fun with the swingy rocks. I like it when it curls a lot.
Turn back a long ways.
But it's certainly more fun.
It is fun. It requires a lot of precision. It makes your line calling definitely interesting.
You like board or control?
Playing mixed doubles this year, swingy ice is kind of a must as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed doubles is a discipline that just doesn't work very well if the ice is a little bit too straight. You've already got a guard in play. You have to get around it. So.
Like a 3-5.
Figured that much.
Yeah, 3-5.
Dean Gemmel is normally on
Just like
on Bill's team, but he's out because he has some parental issues. But I texted him just before to say that he's about to play the football player team, and that both teams are 0-3. And Dean said, "Jesus, tell him he has the responsibility to the curling world to win."
Nice shot, Mark. Perfect.
Good shot, buddy.
Yeah, most of us love that these guys are taking up curling, but you feel kind of like you should be able to win over people who've only been playing for a couple years.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to lose.
I mean, you don't want to lose to anyone. That's generally the goal.
Yep.
Little more.
Yeah. Whoa. Close though. Yep. Whoa. Yep. It's good. Oh, didn't finish at all. I got it. Control.
It's like Billy doesn't want you to get that roll. It's like Billy doesn't want you to get that roll. He's doing anything he can. He's doing anything he can to sabotage you.
Oh, the whole world is going to know what Kevin thinks while he's curling.
Whoa, no.
He could probably have a podcast, something like, "What does Kevin think?"
Yes.
I'm not sure it'd be interesting enough to listen to.
Well, he could just do smart-ass comments about things.
There you go. Like
a 2-minute podcast.
Yeah, and you give him a couple topics and hear what his response is on those. That would, I think that worked well for him.
I like that way. What was that, normal? Yeah.
Close.
Other side.
Whoa.
Good sweep, Mark.
Anything.
Mark, good sweep. Good sweep. I didn't want you to trip
Stay
over
away.
the rock.
I wasn't going to let him sabotage me.
Good sweep. Good throw.
Oh. Kevin acts like Bill's playing for the other team, but not really.
We're light.
That line's probably just a little bit straighter than they're expecting it to be.
Yeah, it's hanging out there.
No one's made that roll yet.
Good throw.
Very low scoring game so far all the way across the sheet.
That is very true.
Whoa.
I don't know if it's getting towards the end of the weekend and people are like, let's just play an easy, simple game, or if we're getting lots of rocks and playing only room for one scorer there. I'm not very good at watching multiple games.
Is he off his meds or something?
Board.
Oh, man.
Board weight.
You heard me? Yeah. Oh, really? Go, about Hogland. I said, yeah.
I think Jared Allen, I think their whole team would probably be pretty good at the short game.
I feel like I'd have to ban them from the short game. They're too tall. Maybe
They could just reach out.
They might put like their knee in the hack instead of their foot.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We've played a good bit of that here. Tim Gardner and I actually started the Tri-Spiel, which it's a 3 events. You play darts, washers, and then short game curling. So it's not even like a full curling bonspiel. And my husband and I played against a team that were both not even close to as tall as like Jared and Mike here, but definitely well taller than I am. And they figured out that height was to their advantage and started planning accordingly when I was up next because I was too short to make lots of things.
I've played in that last 2 years, and the first year, we didn't do great in either one, but the first year, the short game I was really bad at, and it was like the tall people could just like, but then I just kind of changed my strategy to just promote rocks, just keep on pushing rocks forward.
Yep.
And it worked
Yeah, that was tough.
pretty decent.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've been able to play. I've either been out of town or this year I had a little daughter who I was not up for curling quite yet.
Yeah, that'll balancing work and then whatever, not professional. I guess it's not. I guess it's professional curling and kid is definitely a lot.
That it is.
Dang it, Jared.
What do you want to do? All right.
I think that was Jared who just said, dang it, Jared.
Stuck a little.
Just right now.
Yeah, when I came, it kind of
Getting
stuck.
a little mad at himself there.
I felt when I came out, like it just kind of, I don't know, it came out of my hand. Yeah, because I was sliding harder than I thought I was. And then when I went to set it, it's kind of like stuck in my finger. So I didn't like,
No, you're good. That's fine. That's just fine.
Might be a hair left.
What kind of game are we playing here? Where everyone wants to peel guards.
As much as I want to go tonight.
I'm okay with it.
Well, yeah, me too.
We're probably better off.
You want the blank. We want the blank.
Rocks are you trying to hit?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been kind of a boring end actually.
This one definitely. The rest of the ends, they've had a lot more rocks in play. I think just a couple early misses. They didn't really get anything going, and it's kind of hard to get something going late. You know, one team's shorthanded. The hits are often easier. You work really hard sweeping those draws into exactly the right spot, but if you can hit pretty well, they're kind of a low energy expenditure. If the end's already looking like you're not going to get a whole lot, kind of just keep going and move to the next one and try again.
Well, that's kind of boring.
Jason here is going to try and make a freeze to that one on the back corner. Just barely in the rings. Hope that he freezes on it well enough that Bill can't remove it. Still trying to get his 2 here with almost no rocks in play. It's going to be a tough shot. It's out. It's really out to the wings there, and most people haven't thrown any rocks that direction yet.
So.
They're thinking he might be a touch slower, but you also have to guess on your line. We'll see how he does here.
Okay, bring it to the back. My line's good. Got some curling to do.
He likes it out of his hand. Just cleaning.
there. See?
Whoa.
Oh, no. Got a curl.
Thinking it's got room to curl
Whoa,
still.
whoa, whoa,
You
whoa.
got it?
Mine.
Go ahead.
You can see it's not going to make quite enough of a movement to get
I guess it doesn't matter.
Heavy.
to get to that yellow one. It looks like you had probably the right line and
Mine was
ended up right
perfect if I had
behind
the right
it. It was just a little bit heavy.
Huh? I was heavy.
He's starting to get time.
Right, because if it's 5 feet less weight, then it curls. So you always tell where it ends up, where it would have been, right?
That's where it ends up.
So I'm saying, but if I have 5 feet
I was
less-
talking to
It's a hell
these
of a draw,
guys
isn't it?
last night a little bit, and they
I
said
was
that if
thinking
they,
maybe I'd get like part way under it.
if they don't make either the tiebreaker or Sunday, they're flying out. And I'm like, why don't you just have your plane idling? And he said, sometimes we do that. I'm like, that's got to be pretty nice.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun. Most of us are stuck with whatever flight we bought or the road trip we took to get here.
Looks like it's here. Looks like it's here.
So now Bill's trying to make the same shot. Force Jason to have to take one this end instead of getting a 2 or letting him blank and keep the hammer. Oh, he was also a little heavy. He ran into that one, but it just bounced out of the
Yeah, let
rings.
me, well, that's an inch. I think it's good.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Classic.
Mark, right through.
That's not him, is it? You're throwing through.
What an entertaining end, though.
You're just throwing through.
Firing it through.
Oh my God.
I flew to Munich a couple weeks ago for Oktoberfest.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, and I bought the tickets a year in advance, and they were really cheap. They were less than $600 round trip. And I was like on the edge of like status, Delta status or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is definitely going to put it over. But whatever fare I got like 42 miles.
Oh, geez. Yeah, those discount fares, they stopped letting you rack up the points.
Yeah.
I'm super jealous. When I was competing, 3 years ago now, I made it just over to the silver Delta status. And then last year being pregnant, I didn't play as much. I definitely didn't fly anywhere near as much. So I lost my status. And that's been a huge bummer. Those first class upgrades are kind of nice. I always flew to places that were really, no one else wanted to go. So even though I was like a lowly silver status person, you'd get upgrades all the time. Now my husband flies for work every couple of weeks, and they just offered him gold status because he'd bought enough plane tickets in a short period of time.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, hey, for 3 months you can have gold status. You've booked enough tickets. If you book 3 more round-trip tickets in the next 3 months, like you can keep it for a year. I'm like, I worked my butt off to get silver, and now you have gold. Hey guys.
Yeah, the skips are on fire down there. So.
I'm glad that they doubled down on what I was saying, that was a boring end.
Yeah, they both knew it, but once they got going, they're like, hey, it's hard to get something going when there's nothing going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's early enough in the game, you're not gonna go balls to the walls really hard trying to get your 2. It's just you run the risk then of if you get super aggressive, you might give up a steal, and again, that's probably worse than the blank here. They got the blank in 3. Now they're coming back in 4. They keep the hammer. They get to try again to generate some more offense.
Mine's good, right here. Right here. It's got a curl. Roos.
We're there.
Just get it buried. Yep, go ahead. Yep. Hard, all the way back.
I got you. Back 4. Okay.
So it's a little heavy. They were still trying to sweep to get it behind that guard. It looks like they got a piece behind, but it's probably still open if Bill decides to hit. Looks like he's debating if he wants to hit or freeze. We're going to play the freeze here.
All right, now we're curling. Here we go.
Jason's happy that they've got some rocks in play. They're getting a couple more rocks going in play here with Bill playing the freeze instead of the hit.
What they just had for lunch, maybe?
Feels like it.
Certainly isn't about making shots.
They're trying to figure out what the rest of their team's talking about.
You got to be this side of anything.
Straight side or curl?
No, this side, curl side. Off, it's not bad. No.
I'm going to move this better a little bit.
Good shot.
Mark made a pretty nice shot there. Bumped him back a little bit. I don't think that was their goal, but it's definitely not a bad outcome.
Same weight.
Going to do the same shot.
What did you have him at?
Yep.
His number.
Same weight.
I don't even know, but look. It was like 402. I liked it. Yep.
Mark Lazar is he's a junior coach. So junior coach for curling versus former quarterback.
Same weight.
Yeah, a little bit of a
Little more.
different history there.
Whoa.
We'll see who makes more shots. I don't think anyone's taking statistics
Nice
this game.
do it.
We won't really know the outcome.
Yep.
It's a little unfair, though. Mark Lazar is getting to throw a couple extra
Whoa.
shots here with being three-handed.
Yep.
Sometimes that can be
Yep.
nice to get the Goldilocks
It is
effect-
coming down, though.
Goldilocks
It's
effect.
nice.
Yeah, same shot. That was a good one.
Same shot.
Nice shot, Mark. Perfect.
Shot. No, perfect.
Yeah, so Jason really likes that they made that bump because it moves the yellow one farther out, gives them a little more room to try and score their 2, maybe 3 that they're hoping for here. When Mark Lazar was throwing, they would have liked to probably not move that back red one so far because then it would have made it harder for the Smith team to get their yellow rock out. So right now they're looking to just freeze this rock right onto it, even though that won't get them closest to the center at this point. Makes it harder for Team Smith to remove the yellow rock. That's why Mark threw a little bit less weight and having to sweep pretty hard to try and get it there.
Good shot, Mark. It's fine.
That one over curled just a little bit lighter, curled a little bit more. But it did end up behind the guard, so they can't hit it out very easily.
Yeah, it does shrink the scoring a little bit.
Yep,
wee
that's
bit.
the goal at this point in the end.
So does he just want to come down to that red?
Right
then?
here. Just
He's
here.
trying to corner freeze
Yep.
it onto that yellow. That makes it so that if they make
Yep.
this shot with just putting the red one right frozen onto the yellow
Whoa.
one, just right next to it there,
Where is it?
gives them some room that later in the end they can hit their own
Whoa.
rock
Yep.
more easily and then remove the yellow
Yep.
rock that way. Looks like it's a little heavy, so they're just going for the bump right now.
Great shot. Perfect.
Turns out quite well. They managed to get that to move farther than I thought they'd be able to with the fact that it was all the way behind that guard.
Now Billy Stopera has to think.
Yeah, his first indication is playing the run back on the yellow guard to try and get rid of both reds.
Just off nose. Just off nose.
When I look and I see this light, if I get there, then I'm throwing the light. If it's light through there, I can't see it up. Yeah. You got a great shot.
Yep.
Okay, they called sweep right away. That means Kevin must be a little bit narrow.
Yeah.
Let me pretend like I'm doing something.
All right, Kev, that's fine.
Somebody farted.
Just what they called.
Interesting.
Roll in the back for.
That curled a lot.
Yeah, so missed the shot they were going for, but the outcome's not bad. It gets another rock back there. Still cuts down the scoring area a little bit.
Kevin said that he thought that curled a lot, but I just think it was narrow.
I think he was narrow. I've played with him before. We played mixed together, and that sometimes he just gets those started a little bit, so they curl a little bit extra. Still not a bad outcome, though. I think he's got another 2 shots to go, right? So he's got a chance to make the perfect one.
Well, and they can clear out depending on what happens here.
Yeah, so the upside is even they missed, but they didn't miss. The worst miss on that shot is just enough that you don't touch any of the red rocks, but that your yellow shooter stays in front of them somehow. So at least he rolled over to the other side, and those red rocks are open.
Yeah. Tap this to here. Oh. I
It's an interesting call. Tap got that over.
I saw it, Smitty.
Jason saying
Back 4.
he ran into that rock in the back of the house, and what you have to do is you have to tell the other team and usually
Back 4,
agree
back
if it
in.
was moved or not and put it back. The downside for Jason there is that it's his own rock, so even if he did kick it pretty far, Bill might not let him put it back near
Yep.
as close.
Yep. Where is it? Yep.
Hard, yes! Yes! Whoa!
It's coming over too far.
So I was hearing T
That's fine.
weight, which would have been
Just fine.
that line that second Red Rock's on, but they bumped that pretty far, so it's probably a little bit heavier than they were calling.
So he wanted to hit, and he wanted to kind of split them to the either side.
He wanted to split that top one. He didn't
Yeah.
want to touch the one that was on the button there.
Why would he want to do that as opposed to putting something up? Because he needs two, that's why.
Because he needs two, and he's got hammer, so he doesn't really want to put a guard up. That makes it really hard for him to get another rock in later on. But by splitting those, it makes it so that the double would have been harder. So Kevin hopefully would only be able to get rid of one rock at a time instead of two.
Same way.
Yeah.
Here they're trying to double that front red rock with the red rock right under Bill's hand. See how Kevin does on this one. He probably won't miss the same way twice. He's curled long enough, he tends to make that correction. Hopeful to make the double on the non-called shot there. Just missed it.
Hit the broom that time when I didn't want to.
Just hit this in the air and get this one out.
Kevin said he hit the broom that
You
time
like
and he didn't
four or
want to.
half?
What that meant.
Forward.
I'm guessing that Bill gave him a little bit more ice than the first time. The first time, like we were thinking, he was probably a little bit narrow. So Bill's like, okay, I'm expecting you to throw it the exact same way, so I'm going to give you a little bit more ice, and then if you're narrow 2 times in a row, you'll make the shot. But instead, Bill gave him a little more ice, and then he hit that broom, so it was a little bit too much ice. It didn't curl enough.
Hard! Hard, yes! Hard, Mike. Hard, right to it!
This is looking good coming in here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Very nice.
Oh,
Great shot, Jared.
that was the shot that Jason really wanted, but he was calling for the backup, probably easier shot of just hitting the yellow into the yellow. Ended up making that hard down weight double there. Didn't quite get that fourth red rock to counting, but it got him to be sitting 3 now, which is a nice spot to be.
Good throw, Jared.
We're just peeling it off?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you get this one too.
Okay.
Okay, this time Bill's hoping for the triple. He didn't look very hard at it, so it's kind of a hopeful one. Just making sure they get those front 2 is the key here. Kevin's throwing this one really light. It's flying down the sheet. Got those first 2, ended up straight jamming the second one. Which,
Exchanging it.
yeah, it's actually a little worse than an exchange though, because before the red one was farther away than that back yellow, but now it is closer, so red is back to sitting 2.
Hit a little more of that. Does it make a difference?
Yeah, I suppose you have to worry then at the end if they can just, if you leave just one exposed and they take it out, then those are sitting back there.
Yep. Yeah, we've still got 5 rocks to go here. There's lots that can change. There's not a whole lot that the Smith team can do with those rocks back there, so they're just trying to put another one up in the top 8 foot.
Go hard! Yes. Hard, yes! Yes! Hard! 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 Hard!
Looks
Come
like
on.
Jared might be a little bit light
guys,
here.
go!
They're sweeping hard because I think he was narrow as well. I've heard Jason yelling. They're going to end up right cornered on this guard.
There? Okay.
Not the greatest spot for them. That lets the Stopera team draw around, and it makes it really hard for the Smith team to be able to hit it.
I just
The
don't want
guard's
to
kind of extra wide now. Instead of just being 1 rock,
and it
it's
overcurls.
2.
All right. I knew it up to get it. That's my biggest transition from hit to draw. I'm never usually heavy. I try to overcompensate.
I think that's everybody's biggest transition
Get rid of the
between
bump
hit
on the
and
hip.
draw.
What?
It
Get rid of the
is.
bump on the hip. Just kick out harder.
It's the hit to guard is always the hardest. I like to put a lot of those guards in the rings. It's one of those things that takes a lot of time. You're using your giant leg muscles. Mine maybe not nearly as large as theirs. They're probably a little bit stronger than I am. And you're asking these giant muscles to make really small tweaks. The difference between a hit and a draw isn't all that much, and the difference between a draw and a guard is really minor in the amount of leg fire and leg drive that you need. That's one of those things that we practice a lot in practice. You go back and forth so that you can learn what that feels like.
Go, boys.
Although perhaps maybe this line's just a little bit slow because Bill here's coming up pretty light as well, and he didn't throw a hit right beforehand.
Oh my God. I need a lot of help.
Do the same thing.
It was terrible. Sorry.
Oh, we just got a gift. Thank you, Jesus.
Well, making it interesting. That's for sure.
We went from having one guard the whole end with all the rocks in the house, and now everyone's just running into that singular guard.
The last game I noticed they had on the other end, the other team, they were having, both teams were piling up just like that. They couldn't get past it. Probably just an indication of the swinginess.
It's definitely an issue with swingy ice. Now that guard's pretty wide, you've got a lot of room. When the ice is swingy like this, you can miss those rocks by 6 inches to a foot, and your rock will still end up behind them once it gets to the house.
Mine's good.
This end here, they've both been a little light, so their line's been pretty good, but they had no hope of making it around because they ended up on the right line if they'd made it with enough weight. But here Jason took a little extra ice because he really wanted to make sure he was around. He's only going to get just a piece behind there, but still comes in for third shot. I guess I don't know if that's third. It might be second. Oh, no, that's first shot.
Well, they're all kind of similar.
Yeah, that one's more in the 8 foot. I got to look up to get that on the
Do you like
video
the
screen.
like the new overhead cameras? You can actually read them here now.
Yeah, I know. We keep making improvements every summer.
Yeah.
I love coming back to St. Paul when the season starts. Something new is showing up every year.
I think that they're going to try to put a sauna in. They're going to take the mixed room there, the mixed locker room.
They can't do that. My locker's in there. And also, it would make a really poor sauna. It's like freezing in the winter.
Well, you see, it's a matter of
Our mixed locker room here is I don't know what it originally was. Like that end of the curling club used to be, I think, storefronts. And so the locker room that we're in was built as like an add-on lean-to little addition that we've got.
It used to be a storefront?
On the street side.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that. That's
well, our club used to end at sheet 6. One year they had all the floor tiles up, and you can see the like brick road entrance going through there.
Yeah, I think they used to have carriages or something go through.
Yeah, and you can see the brick floor through our floor joists down there.
Well, that gives me a reason to come back for the work crew to see if I can look at that.
Definitely. Yeah, we got lots of people that come down here. They work through the whole week, but our biggest volunteer push is always on Tuesdays all summer, especially for people who happen to be a little more skilled than myself. I can show up and I can help, but I'm, decently handy, but not one to take on these giant projects that sometimes get done.
Yeah, it's amazing. You come down here and they're like, oh, we're just going to like remove this wall here. And it's like, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, so they're taking a lot of ice here for Jason's last shot. The last thing he wants to do is touch that yellow one. He only has to get to the 8 foot, so even if he's way wide, as long as he touches the 8 foot, it's good. This might be the game swinging end here. They're already sitting 3, throwing this one in for the 4th shot, 4th point. They're liking it.
That's good, guys. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Nice shot, Smitty.
There he goes. So that's in for 4. So now
Jason Smith
making some nice draws.
Yeah, it's up 5-1.
Yep.
At the end of the 4th.
Team Stopera's got some work to do.
You just quickly run through and so on sheet 1, it's Podol versus Farrell, and Farrell is up 2-0 at the end of the 3rd. They're into the 4th. Sheet 2 is Potter Rhyme. It looks like that's knotted up at 1 apiece, and they're in the 4th. Sheet 3, I can't quite see. It looks like
Sheet 3, Reds got 3
that's
and Yellows
Richie
got
Runin
1.
is 3-2 over Brundage.
3-1 over
3-1.
there.
Yeah. In the see that's that goofy curling.
Yep, yep.
Sheet 4 is 4-2 Sinnott over Hosen, who's from Hosejan. They're from Charlotte, which is cool. Sheet 6 is 1 apiece. Corbett Clausen, and sheet 7 is 3-2. Looks like Burr is over Merricky. Dominic.
All the way in.
Our sheet looks like is actually the fastest game on the ice right now. I don't feel like they're playing particularly quickly, but they are making decisions at a good pace. So lots of these games here are just finishing up their 4th end. Lies, our game's not the fastest. Sheet 4 is faster. I don't know how they're doing that. Lots of sheets are still finishing up their 4th ends, and sheet 4 here is pretty close to done with their 5th end already.
We only time sheet 4. We have like lights to tell them.
Keep them on schedule.
It's
That's
just
the important
practicing.
one.
Yeah.
Does help that I do believe that's 2 teams that have played together. You get a little bit faster when you get more used to your teammates. Most people, not everyone.
Good listening. Yeah, it's amazing.
Rock seems fine to me, Billy.
All right.
2, it's fine. That's okay.
I shouldn't be telling.
We tried 12 for like 4 or 5, yeah.
Oh, got quite a crowd here for a Saturday afternoon.
This is the time to come down. It's the end of the round robin. Lots of these games matter.
We're there. We're team. We're all there.
I don't know what happens if there's no tiebreakers thrown up, though.
Coming down.
Well, there's still a whole other draw at 5 o'clock, so it's a good way to get some games in. People have a little more free time than on
Certainly
a Friday.
hope there isn't a tiebreaker,
That's good. That's
but
good. That's good.
I'll have to
that's
check
perfect.
afterwards.
Perfect spot. Good shot. That's what we call it. Good, Mark. Good end.
I'm not sure if they'll know after this draw.
Perfect.
There might be a couple scenarios where they have options depending on how the last draw turns out.
I'm not. I think that they use the measurement though.
They will for the first spot. I don't think anyone gets eliminated on measurements.
Oh,
To be fair, I haven't actually read the official rules this year.
that's why I have you here. You're supposed to know all this. You're like the
Well,
professional. You
So
know.
usually when you play in an event, the first thing you do is read the rules, but I'm not playing, so I didn't read them this year. But I do know that most events try not to eliminate on the draw shot.
Makes sense, I think.
If there's space, especially with space for a tiebreaker, lots of times if there's 3 teams tied for 2 spots, the team that has the best shootout will get straight in, and then the other 2 will play off for that spot. So it can get you in, but it often can't eliminate you.
Perfect line.
I imagine we have 7 sheets running here this weekend. I can't imagine they would need to play more
Is okay. Bumping it's
than,
okay.
than
Don't
the
be
one
way
draw.
right.
That's
Right here
that's
is
the goal of having that draw shot, is that you can use it to put teams in, so you only have to play one tiebreaker draw.
Yeah. Take 400 to 405. We're up. Back 8. We're back 8.
Okay, so it seems a
We
little
might
bit
be back
heavy.
12.
They might end up right behind those rocks. They're going for in front of them.
They might be through.
That's what I think.
I don't know where our other microphone is, but I'm getting a lot of good kid giggles in the background here.
I think that's just our mics.
Is that just our mics
Mine
picking
was
up that
good,
much?
just
Oh,
heavy.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Second
I
chance.
could try to tune that down a little bit, I suppose.
Oh, I think it's just fine. It's kind of funny. I don't even know if they come through on more than my headset or not.
I think I always think that your head's perking up. You're like, is that my kid? Something going on? It's the mom mentality.
It is. She's not quite that loud yet, and she's also sleeping back there. Oh, maybe.
Gotta go, Kev, gotta go.
Okay, so even though Red's sitting 2 really nice on the just about 4 foot there, Stopera's playing the wise strategy to use his corner guard that he got in play. He knows that he's down a bunch and that
How much you
getting
got?
getting rocks behind his corner guard's probably the best
Burp.
way to score more than one. Sadly, that one over curled
There I had a
a good bit, so it's sticking out. They're going to just try and hit it around the outside.
It's not the easiest hit, though.
No, and it looks scarier from the shooting's hack position than it does from up here. I'm also sitting on this side of the sheet, so it looks really open to me. Oh, he's going to make a nice one, though. In this spot, his goal is to roll his shooter out. If he kept his shooter there, it would just be a backstop for the next yellow draw. So that was actually a perfect shot there.
Other side, Mark. Other side.
Guessing they took a little bit more ice. Bill's calling that it has a lot of room.
Easy, easy, easy. Whoa, 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 Mark. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All the way.
Bill's saying no as it's coming in, and then as it gets in the house, he's like, I'll sweep a couple licks for you, don't worry.
Lined up nice.
That's a nice one by Kevin. They can probably see just a little bit on the inside there, but being up as much as he is, and the fact that they can hit this guard now, Jason Smith's making the smart call and just peeling the guard. If he ever just whizzes by the inside, he'll pick that one out from behind it anyways.
Yep. Clean. Clean. Yep.
Clean means it's close. It's probably looking pretty good.
Good. Roll it up.
Oh, he just let it curl just enough to miss running into his red rocks in the house there. That could have been a little bit of trouble if he'd run into that rock. He would have just touched it back, and it might end up right behind the forefoot, which would have helped the yellow team have some more stuff to draw into.
Thirds first. We're just kind of talking about it. We're just debating.
We can go here.
I don't like that.
So they're debating here because the hit, they're down a lot of rocks. They need all their rocks in play.
Either way, yeah, let's
Considering
play the hit.
guarding,
Right on nose.
Bill was looking at maybe drawing around those red ones. They're just a little bit more aggressive strategies in this hit, which ends up being a bit more defensive. And there's a lot of rocks left for them, the Team Smith, to make a double potentially. They ended up settling on the takeout anyways. It's not turning out great here. Kevin got it. He luckily did move that red one to right on the tee line, so for the next shot maybe they'll be able to freeze to it. But by rolling out, now Team Smith is just going to hit that yellow one up there that's wide open. They're probably going to try and hit it and keep their rock in the rings. And now Team Stopera is looking at 2 red rocks already.
Yeah, it won't be much of a chance for a big end.
Not much of a chance for a big end for Team Stopera. They're also going to have trouble because they don't really have anything to hide behind. They're going to have to try and make some really nice freezes to that rock on the tee line most likely.
Yep. Clean. Yep.
I will say this Team All-Pro, they have some nice looking slides. I'm impressed. I mean,
I was actually just noticing that myself. I was like, nice and stable, smooth.
They're very stable.
Oh, we got a little tappy freeze.
There's a lot of fitness coming into curling, but sliding is a very odd thing. You're moving in a lunge. It's not a position you regularly do unless you are curling. But it looks like they've, must be putting in a good amount of practice. Stability is pretty important. It makes it a lot easier to
Straight side all day.
slide where you're trying to aim. So here, Kevin's trying to freeze.
Oh, no.
I don't know which one he was going to try and freeze on, but his rock.
He misses both of them.
Yeah, so you hear Bill say that it picked. That means that it picked up either like a little piece of debris, or sometimes there's flat spots in the ice. And when rocks are curling this much, the edges underneath there are a little sharper. That's what helps them curl a little bit more. But it means they're a little bit more affected by either debris or flat spots in the ice. Here Kevin saying fingers, hands on the ice, knees on the ice. Those create flat spots.
No, nose is good.
That can do that kind of action to a rock there. So I'll give a shout out for everyone watching. Keep your hands and knees off the ice as soon as you're done throwing. Stand on your feet. try to keep your hands off. All the ice makers will thank you.
Just clean.
They set up a wall here for
Just clean.
That was a nice shot by Jason. He's stuck right there.
Heaping helping of red rocks in and around the 4 foot.
A lot of red rocks, and the two here are in front of the tee line, and yellow's struggling because they can't really just get a rock in there. They're looking at moving those red rocks to try and open it up, but they.
I mean, if I was really getting aggressive with it, I'd go and roll.
I can't hear their microphones super well.
If I give it the close camera, like I'd really try hard to roll this way, but knows it'd be okay. I don't want to bunch them together.
Looks like they're just taking the hit option there. They were debating if they should be keeping rocks around. I think they're probably just not talking that much.
I don't know what it's not good.
Bill's not liking what he's looking at.
Do you think that there's a way they could just like blank the end?
Like now they're a little bit, if I would have rolled in a little bit.
Potentially.
Just kind of like give up on trying to,
Yeah. I mean, if he makes this double, and then if Jason either rolls towards his red rock or rolls out, then he'll hit and take the blank. The downside here is we've done a lot of work on stats lately.
Whoa!
And
Whoa.
blanking is, when you're down this much, not particularly effective. You definitely want your 2, but you'd be even better taking 1 lots of times than taking the blank. However, giving up a steal here would be pretty detrimental. So right now, even though Bill made that hit that first one, he's not even sitting, like, he's sitting third. There's 3 rocks in the house, and his is last.
Yeah, and obviously he wanted to get the other one too.
Yep, he wanted to get
Calling
both of
him on,
those.
but he was back in the weeds a little ways.
Just here. Short's okay too. Just can't bump the yellow one. Yeah.
So Jason's gonna freeze / guard that yellow one.
I mean,
He's perfectly happy giving.
That would probably be the right call.
What?
I should hit it on 4. That's probably the right call.
Well, then they have a hit. They don't have a hit. They have to draw for 1.
Let's not make that.
He's gonna guard it, or you're gonna hit it? Huh?
I'm gonna guard it.
He's guarding it.
Okay, so they're talking here. Jason's gonna guard.
Just tight at the deepest.
There's a little bit of risk with the hit. If he takes out his own rock with the yellow, he kind of makes the yellow's shot for him. They're up 4 right now. Jason's perfectly fine if he leaves Bill the draw for 1. He really wants to force them to have to take that 1 point. The guard's a little bit of an easier shot than the hit.
It's good.
So you can hear him saying he knows that the right call would really be if the game was a little bit tighter, that he should have
I guess I don't want to make this shot for him. You guys don't have
taking out the yellow.
Yeah, take out the yellow.
Right, I mean, just
right
fire
there.
at it and get it out of there.
Yeah, why didn't we fire it out there? Why didn't we know
I should have. I mean, the right call is to blast it.
So why did you make that then?
But
these are the right calls.
That's okay too. I don't think I got anything I can hit.
This is Team All Pro. They haven't played for a long time, and Jason's saying what the right call would have been, and it's great to hear them be interested about why he did what he did versus what he's saying the right call was. In curling, sometimes there's the right call strategically, and then sometimes there's the right call as to what's easier to make and a higher percentage of the time that you're going to make a shot. So Jason knew that he could make that guard. He had a lot of different spots that he could put it that would turn out well, and it was just an easier shot for him in the moment, even though, like, in the overall strategic mindset, it's not the best call. But
don't want to go.
The best call is always the one
getting
you're gonna
close.
Make.
Gotta go. Oh, whoa.
So it's coming through.
Is he gonna stop in time?
No, not. Well.
He looks like it's gonna be 1 red.
Yeah.
One red.
Tiny bit heavy. They're looking really hard at this.
Sorry, I was waiting. I was waiting for a confirmation.
Kevin's doing the smart thing there. He said what the score was, and he's not going to kick any more rocks until the other team agrees with him on what the score is.
So 6-1. the other score updates here. So sheet 1 is Podol Farrell, and Farrell is up 2-1. Sheet 2 is Potter Rhyme, and Potter is up 4-1 in the 5th, I guess.
Yep.
Sheet 3, I can't see. Brundage versus Runin. It looks like Runin is up 5.
5-1, I think.
5-1. Sheet 4 is Hosjan versus Sinnott, and Sinnott is up 6-2.
They're playing the 6th end. They're the
Yeah,
fastest game out here today.
Yeah, they're going to get an award.
It's held up really.
Sheet 6 is Clausen Corbett, and they are tied 1 apiece.
Blinked that 4th end there. They did actually hang it up. They just didn't score any points.
Yeah. And then on sheet 7,
We've ended up all tied.
we have 3 apiece, and that's Burr and Merke, and they're undefeated teams.
That's a close game. Every time I've looked over there, they've had lots of rocks in play, but lots of rocks in play can just mean 1s and 2s both ways as well.
3 would be good.
Bill's saying here he'd like to get 3.
Right now, they're just happy.
Get it in.
2.
1, 2. What? It better not be short.
So Jason wouldn't like a guard here. He's up a lot of points. That wouldn't go well.
Forget it.
Bill's laughing back there because he says that a guard's great from you guys.
Uh-oh, somebody's in trouble.
Any guards right now are Team Stopera's friend, regardless of if they're on the center line or a corner guard.
All right, there's our center guard.
We are playing 8 end games, Mark. 8 end.
How are they going to get two? Right? No big deal. I'm just saying. Well, we're up a bunch, so remember, we don't want anything short then.
Hey.
You're doing well.
So supportive.
We're going to peel it.
So Jason's explaining why that guard's not helpful when they're up a bunch.
What'd you say?
Sounds like he might be calling the peel on his own rock.
It's a peel of shame.
He called the peel of shame, but it's kind of fun. Lots of leads end up liking it. It's sometimes the only hits they get to throw. So the free guard zone rule is you can't remove your opponent's stone, but you can remove your own stone at any time. So even though this is in what would normally be the free guard zone, he can remove his own rock.
Contact's huge.
340.
They got a Luger or something, huh? That was Lazar's best lead rock of the weekend.
What's that?
I said that was his best corner guard of the weekend.
Whoa! Close!
Oh, he's coming back.
Whoa!
Coming back.
Just touch it here.
Did he?
Good.
Oh, just missed it.
Field goal.
That's the peel of shame.
Only thing worse than the peel of shame is missing the peel of shade.
There you go, Kevin. Kevin's explaining it for us.
Throw a lot of those. I mean, that's...
But as a lead who hasn't been playing very long, and I don't think he's gotten to play any other positions either, you really don't get to throw that many hits, especially with the 5 rock rule. It's really a lot of draws and guards for the first couple rocks usually, so he probably doesn't throw a hit too often.
He doesn't want them to have anything to hide behind. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So Stopera's down a bunch. He's throwing another corner guard.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
For the entire rest of the game here,
I see what you're saying.
Team Smith is probably going to
Nice
try
pair.
and peel all guards that come in play.
Those are pretty nice corners.
Those are pretty nice corners. So this is the 5 rock rule. So previous to last year, Team Smith could have hit one of those corner guards, but they can't hit those guards yet. The interesting thing with where that red guard is that if they hit the red guard, which then runs into one of the yellow guards, same thing, they'd still have to put them all back.
Even the red one?
He threw the best.
If the red one took out one of the yellow ones in the process, yes, all the rocks would go back to where they are right now. So instead of trying to hit his own rock and missed all the yellow ones that are around there, he's switching to the slightly more aggressive strategy and throwing one in the house.
Hard! We're not even there. We're dying. Hard!
Sounds like they're going to end up with another guard out of this.
We got to finish.
If there's ever an end to get four, it'll probably be this one.
Bill.
Just got to finish.
So Kevin's basically saying they've got lots of guards in play. This
guys are
is
fighting like old
what they're looking for
Gotta,
in order to score a big end.
Tough to get around anything.
got to finish it.
Go around. Out turn.
Where do you think he can make?
All right.
Can we go out turn through that port? Is that
Oh,
there?
this one?
Yeah.
This is easier.
Don't get to the center.
Well, you make it good, then he's gonna peel it.
Yeah. 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 We got it.
This is tough coming through here.
How about the draw around that? If it stays out, we tap the yellow.
You like through this one?
No, he was just saying, no matter what, don't be short. You're right. I don't care if you fight right through.
So they're debating what spot they want to put this draw. There's lots of guards to get
I'd
behind.
like to do it.
Basically,
That's fine.
Sometimes the easiest shot to make isn't the best one, but right now if Mark was to run into one of the guards, that would not be great. So they're taking
we're never up.
the draw
I
that's
feel like
probably
we're there.
easiest to not run into any of the guards.
We're always chasing, and you get in trouble for running.
Kevin's pretty far away from this rock. Looking like it might be a
Go
little
way
bit
back?
heavy.
Go all the way. All the way.
It's going to be just fine for them. It's actually going to end up behind
That's insane.
different
That's the way to get around
guard.
that.
They were looking at drawing around those guards as the ideal spot to be. They just didn't think that they would get there by coming really
That's what I
wide
was
around
thinking.
the one on the center line. So they're pretty
Feel
happy
this
with where
one.
that ended up.
Mine. All me, all me.
Clean.
We're wide.
That's all right.
We might get the back one.
Clean, just clean. It's perfect.
Got it? Got it, kid. Oh. Oh.
I got it, guys. Relax. We're there. We're there.
One of the etiquette things for curling is when you make a peel or a hit, you're supposed to catch all the rocks that you run into so you don't take out the people on the sheets next to you. They're all fighting over which rock they want to catch there.
Mostly because I'm not that witty. We're going around there, right? Okay.
Whoa, 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 Mark. Easy. Oh, okay, go then. Sorry.
Kevin's getting up to help sweep his own rock here. It's a pretty nice looking draw.
Yeah,
Nice
that's
sweep.
It's right about where he wanted it. Makes it easier to score multiple when you start making the draws nice like that.
We took our foot off the gas a little here.
Normal.
You can hear Jared kind of saying this is a spot that lots of teams get in trouble. They think that they're up a bunch and that they're golden and they don't have to worry about it. And they kind of just ease off a little bit. And then suddenly they end up in an end like this where they're looking at trouble. So he's trying to make sure that they don't let go of the pressure they've been putting on Team Stopera all game.
Yep. Yep. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
A little heavy. That's all right, though. Sorry. Good throw.
Go up.
A little bit. That's okay, though. That's the way to miss that one.
Where you want to go here?
How about that? Can we get
oh, we
that
have
way?
handshakes on sheet
Think you
4.
can make that?
Yeah.
So Sinnott
Looks like
wins over the Charlotte team of Hozan.
Yeah, it looks like Sinnott scored 4 in that last end there. Putting them up 10-2 after 6. Handshakes are pretty
Other side,
customary
Mark.
at that score.
Oh, no,
Oh,
we're
it's
good.
good. Whoa.
Wait only.
Looks heavy.
So they were the fastest game in
down.
terms of the speed they were playing each end, and then they're also the first one to handshakes due to score. Kevin here is coming in a little hot. That rock's a little heavy. Gonna slip all the way through the rings. Just hangs on to the back line to stay in play. Not particularly helpful back that far, but it's not technically out of play.
He's doing the in-out.
Is that much more?
He is. This ends up being the same turn that Jared just threw in the last one, which he made pretty nicely.
Yeah! Hard!
It also gives you less risk of running that yellow rock into the house if you just
Whoa.
touch it a little bit.
Come on, Jared.
Oh, he's gonna make that double. He does. Gets that one all the way out of the rings and all the way out to the sideline, right out of play there.
I gotta throw it harder.
Killer. Good throw.
What?
I said that's killer. That's a good one. That's perfect.
We can hear Jason loud and clear. He's got a microphone on, but Jared's standing halfway down the sheet there, and this club's pretty loud out on the ice.
Kev, you're not throwing it through again. Oh, no.
Never.
Looks like it's better, doesn't it?
Not by much. It's close.
Got a
You
curl.
got to go to the other side, Mark. You can go now. I don't think you're going to hurt it.
Hard now, hard.
Good shot, Kev.
Yeah.
So yellow was sitting in a pretty good spot here until Jared just made some nice shots.
Same exact split time on
Mixed
that one as
in
the other
with
side.
that one rock through the rings by Kevin. You can hear him saying he thinks that the line that he threw, what, that would have been his second rock because he's shooting 3. He was saying that he thinks that line is just a little bit faster on the ice. He threw the same thing on the other side and ended up right there behind the T line.
We can't worked out perfect.
I know we're almost that guard there.
I'm going to run it straight back.
Okay, so you hear Jason saying he's trying to run that red guard that Mark's holding the broom by onto the yellow one in the house.
Whoa.
It's probably about 10 feet between those rocks with a pretty long run back. The upside is if he misses a little bit like that, he does just clear the guard, and that yellow rock is wide open for his next shot.
Now where you want to go?
I mean, I would just go here.
Okay.
It does seem, though, that Stopera is set up to score 2.
He is.
Which
So
he wants a lot more, but
yeah, he was hoping for a big end here, but
I got the
two's
7-8 now.
a way to get back.
I'm good now.
Every time you score, you get a little bit closer.
It's rough when there was nothing wrong with the rocks I was throwing.
So he's trying to put this behind the center guard. Most likely, Jason will hit that open rock and concede the 2. That still leaves him up, what, 3 points here with 2 ends to go. That's a pretty good spot for Team Smith to be in.
Looks like it's here, huh?
Mark's not touching this rock. He's getting a little closer, probably not looking too bad. But he's not sweeping
Looks
very
like it's in the
hard.
back,
Looks like
though.
it might be a little bit heavy.
That's good.
Far as it goes, Mark. Far as it goes. Far as it goes, Mark. Far as it goes.
So that ended up a little bit heavy, but not in a bad spot. There's definitely no double with those rocks being even across the sheet.
Jason Smith missed an easy shot just like this in the last game.
Oh, perfect.
I'm assuming that he's playing the hit here, but it's the same ice that Bill just had for the draw. Yeah, so
Just giving him 2.
yep, so Jason's saying he's giving him 2.
Lovely.
He'll hit that open rock.
Lovely, you didn't even have to sweep.
Just got to get this yellow rock out. He doesn't really care what happens to his shooter.
I got the yellow.
Oh, I got that down.
Yep, so sleeves Bill
What's
the
that?
same shot that he just threw. Made that first one quite nicely. Just followed down, same spot, same
So,
line.
what rocks are going around up
Get
there?
your 2.
What rocks do we have up front? Are a big no-no.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. We got it.
Jason's discussing the
Yeah,
plan
yeah,
for the
yeah.
next end of making sure that they don't put up any guards.
We have to.
They gotta
work
get
hard.
this
We're
in.
not done yet.
I think it looks pretty good. They just got to be full paint. It's just
Full
kind of
paint.
Yep.
Nice.
Hey, our first
Well,
deuce
paint,
of
but
the
he's going to
weekend.
put that right on the tee line. Kevin didn't even let it stop. I thought that was
We got
probably
ours pretty
perfect
good.
weight
We got
there.
ours yesterday. First deuce
So
of
at the end of 6, it's 6-3. Smith. Fist bumps, not quite handshakes.
Fist bumps. Bill was saying that's their first 2-point end that they've scored for the weekend.
Sheet 1, it looks like Farrell had a big end. Goes up 5-1 over Podol.
I mean, it freeze. You could have held us no
Now we
deuce.
can take
You're
that.
very nice, thank you.
Sheet 3 looks like there's handshakes.
Very kind of you.
I
So-
take it that
Yeah, it
Ronan
was in
scored a
my
couple
game
more
plan
at
for sure.
some point there, but there's no score on the scoreboard for us.
They could be broom stacking.
Unlikely. I think they're both in the running here,
Yeah.
or at least one of the teams
not
is in the
enough.
running.
Yeah. Well, they're both. They both have 2 wins.
I mean, they're throwing it better. They still got some issues.
Yeah.
right?
So
You
the
can
next
still
win
see
left
it.
one of them in the running. Probably
It's like
knocked
you don't
one of
give
them
as
out.
much ice. Like, you give them a lot less ice than usually when they newer guys making curls. Okay. So that's why. Yeah.
I got mine on.
Bill's mic is really quiet. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I think it's just his. It could be that
You're making
he may have
shots.
put it on his shirt under his coat. That would make it pretty hard to hear for us.
I like 95, 400.
Yeah, I'm happy with
400.
how we played all weekend. We
I like
should have won.
405.
Should have won earlier.
You had Luke. How
You know,
did
we
you give
had a
up
great
1
game
and
last
8
time.
in 7?
We probably should have won.
What'd you do in 7 that you did not score?
Oh, Jason's down there talking about all the games he should have won.
They're talking about their last game now as opposed to the one that they're currently playing.
Back house.
What tee?
Yep, go then if it's
Can
team.
tell these guys have known each other for a
Gotta be
while.
back
They're
house.
just running a whole other
All right, it looks good.
conversation while
It looks
playing
good,
this
guys.
game.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Definitely
Back
one
here.
of the. I'm definitely one of the players that's pretty guilty of that as well.
Back 8.
Go
Were
ahead.
you
Over that.
here for Jason's draw
Nice mark,
in
perfect.
on the last game to tie it up?
I wasn't. No, we were still.
It was quite the
getting
shot.
here.
Like it was a really tight, and like there was a rock that was like half on, and he came right in and outscored. It was pretty dramatic.
Where do you think
See if they
Mark's throwing this? I didn't even tell
get
him.
this game to be close and we
Probably
get
guard
some
again.
Hopefully here.
I
drama,
would think.
exciting
right?
shots at the end of this one.
Down to it.
What? Perfect.
So here's Stopera's putting up a second
That
center
5-6
guard.
not very good, right?
Back 8. He wanted
Jason's
it.
pretty happy with Mark Bulger's shot.
I told him it was tee line.
It's definitely not a guard.
Lovely.
It's in the back rings there, which is actually
Over
a
here.
pretty darn nice spot for it.
Same shot.
According to Mark in the chat, Richie scored 6 in the 5th.
Well, that would do that game right in.
Yeah.
That would have made it 11-1. Most people again would shake after that score,
Lot of room.
especially
Lots
because
of
I
room.
think he stole
Right
those
here.
points.
Okay, line's good. Right here.
Yeah, stealing 6.
Get it in.
If I was on League, which I play him once a year on League,
Mike.
if it was only the 5th end, I'd play
Whoa.
the 6th.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, now.
Uh,
good.
Just because it would probably bother him.
Hard.
Yeah.
I
there you
figure if
go.
I can't get under his skin any other way,
He'd be like, "Oh, good, some extra hit
Good,
practice."
just fine.
yeah. All right, so
So that next shot was just a little bit light, leaves it. I think that's half in the 12-foot. Yeah, just biting the 12-foot there.
I'm used to seeing
It's okay, it's still on the same line as their back one, but Jason was calling for that to be all the way to the tee line.
I really need you to play the outside.
His turn is. Well, this isn't
I'm
bad.
going to try drawing from the other side now.
That was a good one, actually.
That is the upside of that red rock being up there, is it makes Mark throw the other turn for his draw around. They threw the guards from the one way now to get around, and they have to take the other turn. That can be a little bit tough. The ice speed can be a little bit different. The line right now, it looks like he's running into that guard.
He seemed to be okay with that. I don't know if he's.
That's just
Heel.
so hard to
Feel
make.
it out.
Well, they don't want to bump him any harder. They'd like to keep all their rocks as close to the center as they can. I think from partway down the sheet, they knew that they weren't going to make it around. So kind of hoping that it would almost curl up a little bit more and they'd keep him more in the center there.
Yep.
Either way, Jason's pretty quick to get up and
Yeah.
call a peel on these rocks.
Hard.
He's hoping to make a double peel. He makes it. He catches his own
That's
rock.
fine. That's just fine.
But he's actually pretty okay with that.
Yeah, cleared a lot out the
We're
front.
sleeping
Yep.
on the rock duty.
That's
Yep.
just fine.
Any less rocks that are sitting up front
sure.
is good for Team Smith at this point.
What?
Gotta go straight side.
Line's good.
Yep.
Got to go straight side.
That's what I'm saying. You have a feeling, right? Yeah. And we've been on you so much about
Kev,
guard,
just
guard,
kind of
guard,
laid
guard.
it down, you know?
Huh?
Just kind of laid her down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost seems like Stopera's team might just be
Same weight. I'll give you a
kind
little more
of
room.
out of gas.
Going
Yeah, it feels a
fantastic.
little bit like they're just going through the motions right now.
Yep.
But they're still ending up, like, that guard ended up on the center line. I know that they were trying to go around, but a center line guard is not the end of the world here still.
Whoa, clean. Whoa.
They were
set that one out.
They were all
First
prepared to
one was
catch
not.
some of
Yeah.
that, some of the
I gave
rocks
you
that
more
moved.
room.
No one was back there to catch
And
that
you
one
just do it
going
different,
right by.
right?
More weight.
I think I think Jason Smith actually
We're okay.
thought that was going to hit. He
We're
like
okay.
got up to.
He did. He thought in that. I mean, he only just missed it. He thought he was gonna just catch a little piece of it. That's all that you really need with that weight. Just trying to get it off the center line. So even though they missed the previous shot, it ends up being pretty good here because they've got a nice center guard. They get to draw around it.
It's like when I have to start peeling on
If they can get around it.
So it looks like they might be running into it again. I don't see Bill standing there calling a whole lot of line.
Maybe he wanted to do that. The tick
It
redirect.
was going to end up over here. It was like,
Bill's saying it's going to over curl, so he may as well run into the
What
guard
are you doing?
instead because it's going to be
get a
open regardless of
like
sweeping
that?
for line or not.
That's a high guard too. I mean, we can
Was I through?
nose this.
Was I through? No? Okay.
You call it.
You like
I'll
that
throw it.
better?
You call it, I'll throw it.
It would have been wide open. So it
Do
really
this.
doesn't matter. We need to.
Yeah, so Kevin's saying he
Normal?
doesn't hate Bill's call there. He was going to be wide open in the other side. Either way, not super thrilled with that draw.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help them very much.
No, they're down a lot. They really needed that rock behind the center guard. Wouldn't have been horrible if it had ticked off a little bit more and ended up behind the corner guard. That would have been better, but it just ended up in the open here.
Whoa!
Let's see if Jared makes this hit.
Whoa!
Jason's calling him off right away.
Just gets by that guard.
That's fine.
That's
That was-
impressive.
I was a little heavy on that.
Just slid wide.
I was a little up.
You just slid wide. Just slid wide, that's all. I'm
I
okay
thought he
with
was
that
just going to
weight.
take that center guard,
That weight's
which
fine.
here still wouldn't have been the end of the world. They would have got rid of the center guard even if they left the rock in the house. That would have been an okay outcome as well. It's probably why Jason was calling that turn. Kevin's getting up to help sweep his own rock here. They took more ice, but he's a little bit lighter, so it's just going to end up a guard.
Yeah, they're having a hard time getting
Little
it where they want it.
They sure are.
Set for the steal of one.
what's that?
Setting up for the steal of one.
Kevin's saying he's
Oh,
just trying to
damn
get
it.
more guards up there, make a wider guard for Bill to make the draw.
Just want to hit it here.
Get that steal in the end here.
You gonna give me that set or what?
Was it ESPN or not?
Yep. Whoa.
That's throwing really well.
Yep.
That was pretty good, right?
Whoa. Nice throw, Jared. Perfect.
Jared there with a nice double peel. Get rid of all the center guards, regardless of how many Kevin tries to put up
Sorry,
there.
we're having a little conversation. There we go, right here.
Okay.
Unless we go here. That's probably the best, right?
Bill's
Yeah.
trying to weigh his options on where exactly he
think it's
wants
like
this draw to be.
Yeah, that does seem like a good side, though. You have a little backing there.
Yeah, his original call was all the way down to that back guard. Or not the back guard, sorry, the back rock.
Yeah.
But it
Feels
looks
like
like
so
he's
much ice.
settled on just going for T-line
I like
behind the guard instead.
Is that too much?
You know what I mean? Like,
if Team Smith wins, I should have been paying attention. We should have done a really aggressive, like Sports Center style call for one of Jared Allen's shots, because it might have made ESPN. They might have copied it, and we could have been in curling immortality.
Well, that would have been fun.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, maybe we would have made like
Side of anything.
the ESPN top 10.
Yeah, maybe.
You're right.
Hopefully we get no one that shows up on the ESPN not 10.
Yeah.
You gotta go straight
Or
It's all
it's not
here.
that one. What's that one? There's that
Losing
one
line.
YouTube thing where the guy goes,
Great.
he's like a sportcaster on some podunk town, and he's like, and boom goes the dynamite on a really boring basketball, whatever. Yeah. Hopefully it's not something like that where it's you're copied for negative reasons.
Yeah.
Curl like that.
A little over.
Actually, we'll go here.
Yeah, it overcurled a little bit heavy.
It's amazing too
Just
because he
ends up
has
in not a great
boom way
spot.
the heck over there.
He did, and he even said he's like, that looks like so much ice, but
Yeah.
it definitely was the right ice. He was just a little bit heavy, and it just kept
Go
going.
last, Mark. Keep going.
His brace like he's revving
That should be perfect.
Top 8. As long as
After
we're
a
second,
12
we're good.
feet, too.
Don't want to be too deep, though, just because that gives them something to...
If anything, I
Top
love it.
8's all right.
Yeah, I think we got to bite the 8 foot, right?
All right, 400 to 405.
Is that correct still, huh?
No,
So,
Yeah, you're probably right. For top 8.
yep.
we can get a 4 against these guys, can
I like it. I like it.
So it kind of looks like Jason's going to call the same shot.
Mine's good.
The bump's there.
Top 8.
Gave about the same ice.
He is. I'm guessing he's trying to be above the tee line, though, to make
Mine's
sure
good.
that
Top
Bill
eight.
can't freeze down to that wall that's back there now. Just kind of get in the
Whoa.
way, try and force
Top
Bill to
eight
draw
Oh, really?
to the other side,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
where he hopes he can get it out afterwards.
Good spot for that one.
You better corner freeze that.
Yeah.
Or go down to this.
You will find the quicker on the.
Yeah, so Red's sitting 2.
I tell you, I don't know how I even get shot out of it.
It's either up there or down here.
Does this help us?
You like a...
Yep, Red's
think
sitting
he
2
can
after
bury
that
it.
shot. That was a really good shot by Jason. It's in far enough that Bill can't draw all the way down to the back one and be shot. But it also, he can't draw to that
Well,
front
good
one and be
shot.
shot.
I don't think I can get
He's
shot
really
with
kind
this
of in a
thing.
tough spot.
That's not even shot, is it? Is that even shot?
Well, you don't have to be... You can be right here.
Here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So he's got a pretty small window on where he can put this rock.
All right, yes. Is that where it is? Where were we here?
We're there-ish. He probably let it go a little early.
Here somewhere?
Yeah. I'm thinking here.
Promise.
That looks, no way.
No?
It stays open. We hit for 3.
I don't know.
We're gonna on the ice so long.
I got to freeze to the back one.
Yeah.
How long is the ice going to curl like this?
It's 12 feet, but it's all right.
Did they?
I wonder if they had a pick over on sheet 7. They're going crazy with the sweeping.
League from, when we would drill like edge of 4 foot or a couple inches outside the edge of 4 foot.
Sometimes
have to- they're getting
before the
berm in the
first
middle
shot of the
12,
end,
yeah.
because everyone's been kind of standing in the area you're going to slide through, they get a lot more berms down it. It looks like this is the first rock about to come down the ice here.
All the way.
Looks a little heavy.
Bill took more ice. Looks like he's going to run into that guard or that rock there still.
Oh, that's not good.
That's kind of what
Hanging out.
Jason was hoping.
Yep.
Bill's sitting 1, but he knows that Jason's going to make this shot. He's not even going to make him throw it. He's conceding the game here.
We got handshakes.
Hey, boys, you're on the board.
Let him make the shot. Let him make the shot. Make the shot.
Oh, all right. Well, go ahead.
So Bill's conceding,
Nothing.
and Kevin's being like, "No, we got to make him throw this rock here." So Jason's
Mark,
gonna end up throwing this rock to take out the yellow one.
Oh, they did a half handshake.
Bill was conceding. Kevin wasn't quite on board yet.
Get this mic off me.
We got to take a picture down there anyways.
Thanks.
Just clean.
Now, wouldn't that be funny if he cleared out a bunch?
It would be kind of amusing, but Bill was pretty sure he was going to make it. Even the 2 here that he's going to end up with, he's pretty happy with.
You guys played well. You guys played well. Good game, Jared. You guys played well.
Good job.
Very good game.
Victory!
You're off and running. We need a picture.
Let's take a picture together.
We need a picture for
You gotta
sure.
take it. Thank you. You guys are gonna be all sad faced.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you gotta be sad.
We don't have that face.
Hold on, Mark, they want a photo.
Right back here by the
Oh
scoreboard.
yeah, we gotta take about a score.
I don't know if I'd want to be in that picture.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either.
Yeah.
Got our deuce.
I would say let's act like we've been here before, but we haven't. So.
We haven't.
Oh, I haven't been following quite the whole career. It sounds like this might
one
be
of you-
the first win for Team All Pro.
We can do it outside the ice too.
We'll get a picture inside. I'll take a picture.
Yeah. All right, come on, guys.
Here.
Team All Pro.
It's the camel uniforms.
All right, boys. Smile.
They're the only ones I've seen whose heads make it all the way to the
Come
top
on
of
out
those
by the house.
scoreboards.
Come on out by the house.
Who knows if this will ever happen again? So.
Kevin just lost,
right,
and yet he's
ready,
just giving him
set.
some grief
Get his
anyways.
fat ass out of the way. Thank you. Good curling. All right. Congrats, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Good game.
I'll leave you a picture of beer.
Yes. Is it still free?
Yeah. I'll give a generous tip.
Boy, they're pretty excited.
They are.
Pretty tough weekend, right?
I normally would shut the mics off at this point, but it's kind of fun to
They're pretty
listen.
amusing. I think Bill took his off already. He was like, I'm done with this.
We should end 2-2.
But here's the deal. Oh, sorry, Mark. We're not staying too low.
I got one for you, Mark.
It was crazy.
I got him. You're good.
It's just crazy.
Well,
how
we're in the history book.
The game before this.
It's kind of like the Vikings are always in the like Sports Center, but they're on the other side. Like they're the other end. Like that's us.
Listen, we're the first, we're not going to be the last.
Right?
Hopefully they did. I don't know if they did.
Well, that is very entertaining. All right, so I'm going to switch to a different.
It doesn't work.
All right, I'm going to cover some of these other games, see what's going on. That was all exciting and everything.
That was exciting. We've got a couple other games still going on here, though.
I've lost my page. So on sheet 1, Podol versus Farrell, and Podol is in yellow and is up. Sheet 2, it looks a little close. It's 4-2. Potter over Rhyme. Sheet 6 is 3-1. Let's see, red is Corbett over Clausen. And sheet 7 is pretty tight. It's 4-3. Burr over Merricky. And like I said before, that's the unbeaten teams. Well, the easiest one to call is sheet 6, far. Oh, except that we have, on the computer, we have 1 and 2 far. So that's the one we'll concentrate on, the ladies.
That's a tough one. There's some posts in the way for us, but we'll definitely do our best here.
It's hard, it's hard to look through those. I'm trying to get the club. I've been asking them if we can remove these big steel beams that hold the roof up.
It's probably going really well for you.
Yeah, no, I have not got a lot of traction on that. It actually, yeah. To me, it looks like the most interesting game is on sheet 7.
That's true. That's usually the hardest spot to have cameras on. The
Yeah.
roof goes down a bit there. It just doesn't.
Yeah, we do have
Doesn't turn out as
we do
well.
have cameras over there.
Oh, I see. I guess I see them on the wall.
Yeah.
We've added lots of new fancy things here.
Could we do sheet 7 far? Oh, you have to wait for it. There's a delay. All right, we're on 7-4. This is the battle of unbeatens here.
Might not be the most interesting end to tune into, but they're playing lots of hits on this wing here.
So they're on the 7th end. We don't know what happened on the 6th. Maybe they blanked it.
They must have blanked it because I don't see it on the scoreboard and I don't see it on the stack. The only thing I can't see is the
Yeah.
spot where they would hang for blank ends.
So that means that Mericky's got the hammer, I think.
Yeah, Mericky's got the hammer, down 1, playing 7 here. I wasn't tuning in early enough to what was going on in this game, so I'm not quite sure how they ended up with just this one rock in play. Not sure if this was the called strategy or if someone missed early on.
And they're just trading hits in the back of the house now.
That they are. Murky's going to be pretty happy to do that, so I wonder if the first rock from Team Burr just slipped in the rings and they've been playing hits ever since then. Mark would be pretty happy to take the hammer to the 8th end, down 1, try and score his 2 there.
Is that Steven Dropkin?
That it is.
So is he trying to come down to it, or?
Nope, he's just playing a down weight hit there.
Well, then he was successful.
That he was. Sometimes it's easier to make sure you keep your shooter around with a little less weight. It's good practice to play a little bit lighter hits. You can see what's going to happen on the ice there. Now that looks like we've got Andrew Stopera here shooting for Team Burr.
Stoppy Tom O'Connor sweeping.
Same thing, other turn, just a nice lightweight hit. They're both happy leaving those right on the center line.
It's ends like this that make curling so exciting to watch.
Yeah, it is for sure here. Although they're making it look easy, keeping those rocks hitting sticks aren't always the easiest shot. So another, looks like Steven gets to play the same exact shot here. See if he can make 2 in a row. Just as good as he made that first one. It's not narrow because they're not sweeping a ton. Might be a little wide. They're trying to help it curl up a little bit here.
That's interesting you said that it wasn't narrow, because when I looked at it, I was like, it looks more narrow than the last throw.
Yeah, I'm also now realizing that I don't know if the TVs here are displaying at the same time as it's on.
Yeah, it's an 8-second delay or something like that.
But I'm assuming that our commentating's not delayed to what's happening.
No,
or not,
no, we just don't have the audio out there.
Okay.
So.
I'm like, I feel like I can predict the future based on what I'm seeing on the screen in the club room here.
You can actually predict the past with that.
Okay, so Steven rolled out here. Means that Todd Burr's coming up to shoot. He just gets him to draw. It's kind of good practice if they do end up playing an extra end here. He gets to practice his draw path. The guys look pretty happy with the weight here. Just got a broom down, keeping it clean. Oh, he's actually throwing the guard. Sorry, I missed the call. Throwing the guard, seeing if they can get a miss and steal a point here.
So now we just moved the takeout game from the back of the house to the front of the house.
Pretty much. But here they really don't want to stick around. If they ever stick on this hit here, Todd will just draw right around, and then Dominic Marquis got a tough takeout around a guard. I'm imagining this isn't going to be the lightest of hits that he's thrown all day. Probably going to move up more of a peel weight versus that nice controlled weight they were playing in the back of the house. They're sweeping pretty hard to get that out.
Yeah, they got it out of the way.
It hangs onto the side, but I don't think there's a whole lot of rings behind that guard. Not a lot of rings, but I think Cobb's
There's
going to try and
something,
draw
yeah.
behind it there. At least make him look at it.
Why not, right?
Definitely.
Pretty sure I couldn't do that, but at least not consistently.
We'll see. We haven't been watching this sheet enough. I don't know if Todd's taking ice to get really on the edge of the 12-foot.
Yeah,
or if he's just going to get a little bit closer to that guard, make him at least think about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like a lot less light ice than we had here, for that same kind of distance.
It is. A lot of it's dependent on how much rotation you put on your rocks. I know Kevin's not one that puts a ton of rotation. It doesn't look like it. The game that we were mainly covering didn't look like they put a lot of rotation on any of the rocks. However, I wouldn't say that Todd's rock has a ton of rotation either. Might just be swinging a little bit less over there on sheet 7.
In the Quonset hut.
They're liking here. I can't really see much because it's behind one of those nice pillars for me.
Well, they're not covered, I don't think, but they're in the top of the 12.
Oh, they just rubbed on that guard, which, like I said, I couldn't see that in real time. I'm watching it on my replay screen here. It's right behind one of those nice steel pillars holding up the roof. So they rubbed. If they just swept a little bit, I wonder if they were thinking that it was a little too heavy to sweep to get around. But they are forcing Dominic to make a takeout here. His goal here will be to hit that rock and roll his shooter all the way out of the rings.
And he accomplishes it. So blank end. Coming down the 8th end. Burr up by 1.
Burr's up by 1, but without the hammer.
Yeah. It looks like on sheet 2, Potter and Rhyme scored 2 in the 7th and made it a tighter game. It's 1-point game, 5-4.
Yep, sheet 1 hasn't finished in the end since our last score update, I don't think. They're still playing 7. On sheet 6, that would be
Clausen and Corbett.
And looks like
Corbett is up.
Corbett stole 2 more in the 7th end. Put him in a pretty solid lead here coming into 8. I think that was the last shot over on sheet 1 and N7. Yellow scored some more points, so that's handshakes over there.
So that's Cora Farrell wins.
Yep, Cora Farrell, I don't know if they got 1 or 2 there in N7.
They got enough.
But they got enough. Calling it a game. Our game over here on sheet 7. Marky Burr, they're starting their game here. Got a nice guard. And then it looks like Dominic Markey here is calling for the tick on that center guard.
I haven't seen a lot of ticks this tournament so far.
It's swinging so much you can kind of hit anything that ends up behind the guards, but it's not a bad call. We'll see. So he just touched it.
Yeah.
That's still a pretty good shot there. Moved him off the center line. Opened up the button. They don't mind keeping that yellow rock in the back wings. That could be their second counter if they end up needing it. Todd's debating here if he should be throwing the guard or taking out that back rock. Looks like he's settled on the takeout.
So they take it out and stick.
They take it out and stick back there. I'm guessing with this call that Markey was hoping that they would have left the 2 corner guards with that tick, so they're debating if they're going to play another corner guard. I think the end result here is they're going to put a corner guard up in front of that red rock that's back there.
Although where the broom is. Oh, the other red.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Covering that red rock that's
Yep.
on the side 8 foot there. Ends up being that they can then freeze down to that later in the end. Did I miss something last end? Was Steven calling the last end as well? And
Well, we didn't see. We only kind of saw the skip rocks, so.
that's true.
But yeah, I was surprised to see Dominic doing so much sweeping.
Definitely.
Maybe he needs exercise.
Yeah, no idea exactly what they're going for here with the lineup.
So Todd's going to try to draw down or draw behind. Looks like.
Looks like it. Looks like he's going to try and draw behind his guard, even though it's a little bit off the center line. It's got some room to curl yet. I almost could have called for the tick on that corner guard.
Yeah,
I think
that was really straight.
Yeah, it was just a little bit heavy, so it ran a little bit straighter there. I'm curious if that's a shot that we'll see called more often, is a tick on that corner guard, because right now that corner guard's covering a bit of the 8 foot. If they'd run into it, they could have maybe just touched it out to really not cover a whole lot of anything. Their shooter might have stayed as another corner guard on the other side, though, so going for the draw they originally played. Now Team Murky's coming.
Doing the same thing, what you said they were going to do.
Yep,
Draw down.
they're playing that draw. They've got a little bit of backing. They can be in front of the tee line, or they can be all the way down to that one, and they're all pretty good shots. Looks like Derek's a bit heavy here, though. They're not touching it down the whole way. Just touched that rock in the back. If they touched a little bit more, maybe they would have rolled over and sat in front of the one that Team Burgess threw. Pretty big miss there, though, in their need to score two points here.
Well, they really only need one, but it'd be better to have 2, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you tie it up here, you don't have the hammer in the extra end. It's not a great spot to be in either. You're definitely better off getting your 2 in the 8th. So Team Burr is going to peel that corner guard now that they can. Leaves Team Murky's got to probably play with some of those rocks that are in the back of the rings now.
Yeah, going to try that freeze again with a draw down.
Yep, still keeps the house pretty open for him. So we have handshakes over on sheet 6.
Yeah, that's Corbett over Clausen.
Got through enough rocks. Looks like weight must be a little bit closer on this draw. Trying to get it to curl up enough to be on the nose there. Lots of really nice adjustment.
Very nice, yeah.
We'll see. Stopera throws some pretty nice hits, so I'm guessing that the 2 inches of space between those rocks might be enough to be able to remove it. They'll lose that back red one, but I don't think that Todd's particularly concerned about that at this point. The back red one's only helping Team Markey. Oh, that's a pretty big miss by Andrew there. He's not particularly happy with that either. He managed to just miss that yellow and take out his own red only.
Yeah, what are the chances of that?
Chances are pretty low, but that's the miss that Team Murky needed. Gives them the option. They're debating if they're going to draw around the guard or if they're going to draw to the back red rock.
Yeah, then you're sitting 2, and then they're chasing.
Yep. Personally, I like the draw around the guard because if you make the draw to the back red, then Burr can hit and try and roll in front of you. So if you're just behind the guard, maybe they'll try and run, but pretty much Burr's next shot is definitely going to be a hit and roll, so we'll just see where they end up throwing this draw.
We're talking about it.
They are. It looks like Derek liked coming down to the backing. Looks like Dominic likes coming up in front of the tee line there. That would be my preference as well. So now they're switching and Dominic's in the house for Steven's shot. And then Dominic will throw the last rocks. Okay, that makes sense. This is where we tuned in last end, so it looked like Dominic had just been calling the whole end.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a different lineup than I've seen for lots, but if it's working for them.
It's not similar to the Runin squad, right? No. Yes? No.
No.
Richie probably doesn't do any. Yeah.
Because Richie doesn't sweep at all.
Right.
Yeah, that's the part that was throwing me off is that,
Yep.
that Dominic was sweeping. That's a really nice shot by Steven there. If he could have walked down and placed it, I think that's exactly where Dom would have had him put it.
It's kind of hard to see how it's lined up.
Both from the camera and from our viewpoint over here. But it looks like, I think it's pretty nicely behind that guard based on looking at the center line.
I'm not good at lining up doubles, but there's not a double there.
No, there's definitely no double because the top yellow rock is behind the guard.
See, this camera over here, well, there's a head in the way now, but kind of makes it look like there's some of it visible.
There might be a tiny piece of it visible from the outside, but definitely not enough that they can get a double. The only double is by running in the guard. I think that might be the shot they're playing. They're definitely playing the run back. We'll see if they make that. Oh, that's
Look at
a great
that
shot by
shot.
Andrew. That's the only way to get a double out of that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even look particular, like he's just skating down as if like, oh yeah, every day I make those shots. That was a really nice run back there.
If that was the called shot, that's amazing vision too. Like being able to see that. Like, well, you saw it, so I can't. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that was a shot as Todd was calling it. They swept a little bit, but they weren't pounding it, so they were just pretty happy with it most of the way down the sheet. Definitely makes it tough here for Team Markey to get 2. Looks like they're calling the same draw behind the guard. The guard's moved over a little bit. This will be a draw to the side, 8 foot. They're not particularly concerned with that rock that's back 4 foot right now. They really have to get a rock in the rings in a good spot to be able to score their 2.
That kind of needed in the same spot as they had that one.
Yep, it'll be just over a little bit farther because that guard did move. Looks like weight must be pretty close. Trying to get it to curl a little bit more. It's another really nice draw by Steven.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some great draw weight here at the end of the game. This is where I wish I could hear what they're talking about. It looks like Burr is debating between playing the same run back that he had Andrew throw or corner freezing the yellow. Decision looks to be the run back. Andrew made it so nice. Let's see if Todd follows it up the same way. The upside here is even if he does just miss it barely, he'll at least open up that yellow rock for his next shot. And right now, red is still sitting 1. Tom's getting ready to help it curl up a little bit.
It's the one. Yep.
Gets it. They're sweeping it to try and roll it out there. They don't want to leave any extra backing for Dominic to draw down to. And now Dominic's going to make the same shot that he just called for Steven. He's calling for that same draw. He's got to hope that on Todd's next shot that he doesn't make it. Oh, and over on sheet 2 here, it looks like
Tied it up.
they tied it up. We're going to play an extra end.
Yep.
So in that extra end, that will be, it was Team Potter was red, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so in the extra end, Team Potter will have hammer. However, Team Rhyme just stole in the last end, so that they just have to do it one more time.
I just think that's kind of neat how they push the rocks back so that people can see it.
Yeah, lots of clubs do ask people to do that so that the view from the clubhouse is a lot better playing towards the home end. So if you play an extra end, they ask you to play it that way so that all your fans can get a good view.
Whew. Working hard on the brooms to get by the guard.
Get by the guard. Looks pretty good weight.
Yeah.
Might be sticking out a bit from the outside for how hard they were sweeping to make sure they got by that guard. Let's wait for the replay delay screen inside here. Yep, so they definitely have some space on the outside of that rock. They can see that rock from outside the guard. But red is already sitting 1. So it looks like Todd's playing to just come and follow Dominic's shot in there. Freeze right on the side of that yellow one, and it makes it really hard for Dominic to score his 2 here. The risk is if Todd's at all heavy and he comes to the back 8 foot, or if he doesn't get quite far enough, that side 4 foot red one's going to be wide open for Dominic to make his shot for 2. So this is a pretty clutch draw here for Todd to make. He's made a few of these in his life. Doesn't even look nervous. Tom's down there sweeping. They don't look particularly worried about the weight, just trying to hold it straight for a little bit longer. Just cleaning it in. Looks like everyone must like it pretty well here.
It's got to come over, though.
It's got to, just bounced a little bit, but
That works.
it ended up sitting next to the yellow one. There's no double there.
Well, it looks like they're trying to think about it.
You could play it with some down weight to try and just tap them a little bit. But you don't have a normal firm weight double.
So when you look at it, what tells you that you don't have a?
Just the fact that red one that Todd just threw did stop right next to the yellow. There's not quite enough space to hit
It wouldn't
hit it
move,
on the
right?
side.
Yeah.
You're gonna take. You can get both red ones out if you played it with a normal weight or a firm weight takeout, but you're likely to lose that side yellow along with it. So it does
Which
look
doesn't
like
give you a benefit.
right, which doesn't get you the 2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure here if Dominic is going for trying to make a down weight double or if he's just trying to hit and roll a little bit off that red one. This is where I wish I could hear their microphones a little bit. The microphones that they don't have on because they weren't on the feature sheet. Funny how it makes it really hard to
we
hear
should get
them.
mics for everybody, just in case.
Some clubs have put out boom mics.
Oh, yeah.
But that really would not go well in this club. It's way too loud out there. Derek on, off. It's close. Oh, he got it.
The double.
So he played that with a little bit more of a controlled weight to get that double there, and he made it. Made it for 2. I don't know if you guys can all hear Richie Roonin in the back of this, but he's pretty excited about that shot there, too.
Yeah, he was betting on the replay.
That was a nice shot. A nice shot by Dominic. That means that Team Markey comes through undefeated. I think that gets them a bye straight into the semifinals.
Yep.
Unless they have another game. Nope, they're done. So that puts them at 4-0. They'll get a bye into the semis tomorrow. Let me tell you what time those games are. Those games are at noon. However, at 3-1, I have to imagine that Team Burr is still in the playoffs with that record.
Yeah, there's 6 teams from the men's side.
Yep, 6 teams on the men's side, 4 teams on the women's side. I'm guessing we'll get swapped over to Sheet 2 here, which is playing their extra end. So far, there's 2 pretty good guards up there for Team Rhyme.
Yeah. Your wish is the technical demand or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty classic for the Steel.
Yep, you got to get some guards up there. Now with the 2 guards, they're just going to come right around.
Oh.
Just rub on that guard.
It might be a little tuckered. Sweeping.
They might be. This is early enough in the season. This might still be the first event for some teams, and it's a lot of work to play this many games this quickly.
I have never called a game with Cassie Potter. I don't think it's going to be on the feature sheet. Nope. That's the skip, right? Team Potter.
Yep, Team Potter. So we have Cassie Potter. They're all too far away from my eyes to really tell, and they're all wearing black.
Courtney George is out there.
And I believe that is Jackie Lemke and Sophie Bader. I will forever want to call her Sophie Burson, but that's what happens when you played with people when you were little. That's a nice shot by Jackie to get rid of both those guards and roll her shooter back out a little bit. Still a guard there for Team Rhyme, but it's not as useful being that far off the center line.
Oh, we'll just get one put back there, I guess.
Yep, I'm guessing that's the call there. I can only see a little bit of the house from over here.
So that's, I think, Katie Rhyme who's throwing that rock.
I believe so.
Right where she put the broom. That's nice.
It's a good guard there. Cassie right up to get that rock peeled.
We can walk down the next window if you want.
I'm good for now.
All right. I had to do that last time because I...
So far, all the rocks are in front of the rings. I can see those. Guard up, guard peeled. That's likely to be what we see for most of this end over here.
Oh, over here they hog the ice bucket. Sheet 5. Have you ever done any ice work?
Not really. No.
Yeah, either have I.
I've helped clean for mini of Spiel when I was a junior, but I have not done actual ice work.
Apparently they used to make the junior, I don't know if it was this, I think it was this Bonspiel. They made the juniors clean the ice.
Yep, we used to come and clean the ice for this event. I think there was one other one like more in the middle of the winter.
Like maybe the international.
Yeah, but
that's appropriate to have juniors in a drunk fest like that.
Yeah, but you get to see there's lots of good curling in that event, though.
Yep.
So, okay, calling for another guard here. It's looking like it's going to be pretty good. Not quite as tight to the house as the last one.
They definitely look tuckered. That's Cassie Potter in the house. She was communing with that rock. Stared at it for a little bit. Tried to get the feel.
Yep, and now Courtney George is up to peel this one. Peeled it and missed her side one. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this is kind of going to that one end we were talking about on sheet 5 where it's stick, peel, stick, peel.
Yep, only this is the goal of this end versus that one where they just missed a couple shots.
Yeah.
So this is pretty classic extra end strategy. If all the shots are made in extra ends, they don't often turn out particularly interesting. Yep, now they're getting another guard up. This is Libby Brundage throwing here. Looks like everyone's pretty happy with it. They're just giving it a little sweep on the end here. It's a very nice center guard.
So Courtney George delivers another takeout attempt here.
Yep, guard up, guard peeled.
Comes down on the center line.
Looking pretty good.
Same thing.
Yep.
Same result.
2 in a row there for her.
So we're down to Skips Rocks.
Down to Skips Rocks. This is where Team Rhyme's going to have to make the debate of if they come in behind one of these guards, which it's looking like they're deciding they're going to come in behind that corner guard. If they put up another center guard, it's decently likely that Cassie might have tried to draw around it and beat them there. So they're going for the thought that they need to get one in the rings at this point in order to have any chance of stealing.
So at this end game strategy, you don't come in too early.
Right.
So then it just brings everything into the house, and then
Brings
it's
everything in the house,
open.
clear all the guards, and then you've got nothing to hide behind for the rest of the end.
So does it typically, they typically wait till your skips rocks to come in if it works out properly?
Yep, or if anyone ever misses a peel and you have 2 guards, then you'd come around at that time.
Oh.
So sometimes, like they'd attempted to come around when they had 2 guards, but I don't remember whose shot that was, that they just were a little bit light and wrecked on that center guard so that they didn't end up with any rocks in the house there, which let Cassie Potter just be able to just peel for the rest of the end there without having to worry about any rocks in the rings.
So that would also work if you, not with an extra end, if you just had to, ooh, they get it in, nice. If you needed to steal one.
Yep.
At the end of a game.
Yep, it's the same strategy there.
Yeah. It looks like it's lined up from here, but it's kind of hard to tell.
It's really hard to tell.
And that.
No, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. They're on the middle sheet there, so at least the camera that's up behind is right behind them. Cassie and Courtney looks like they're debating. They're just standing there and talking, and I, of course, don't have microphones. There we go. Some brooms are moving now. They're debating most likely if they want to try and chase that yellow one or if they just want to draw to the middle. Looks like they're asking to have the front end weigh in here a little bit on what they think the best shot is. Both of those guards are pretty high. I don't know how well this sheet is curling in comparison to our sheet 5, but even if they get a rock behind any of these guards, you should be able to get around and tap it out later. So I think the debate is just deciding if they're going to go, if they go around the center, do they go all the way around that side guard, or do they maybe throw it just in the top 4 foot on the center line and force the other team to hit? It's almost harder when there's this few rocks in play. There's lots of options. Okay, Cassie is momentarily indicating back 8 foot. Now we're going top 8 foot.
My gut would be to go underneath that red and try to come to that yellow. I don't know why, but that's probably what I'd end up calling.
It's pretty difficult to get shot with it up there. You'd have to be.
Well, I'd call it. I'd lose, but that's it's all right.
You could do it. Okay, end result is they're going somewhere under that center guard.
Yeah, she kind of had tapped in the top 8 on the left over there, I think.
Top 8 foot would make sense. It makes it a little bit harder for Team Rhyme to get underneath there. You want to make sure you stay in front of the T line so that they can't freeze onto your rock.
If that red rock were a little bit farther back, would you consider running it back?
Yes, potentially. Yeah, if the guard was a little bit closer to the rings, you could try and do a run back.
And then it would open it up a little bit for...
Yep. Well, they must think she's either really narrow or light. They got on that right out of her hand.
It's definitely going to clear the guard.
Must be a weight judgment call. Oh, they're getting off now. It's looking better. Okay, so Courtney's indicating they're looking to try and bite the 4 foot here. Okay, just short of the 4 foot. That's a pretty good spot for that rock. It's probably mostly open behind that guard, but that's not a particularly big issue for Team Potter right now. It's a good shot for them to call. It's likely that Cassie will have to throw another draw on her last one. So now she knows what that weight is and how that line is looking. So she's got a little more confidence in the next one of knowing exactly what she needs to throw.
Oh, the next draw's at 5. I was thinking it was 5:30. This is always, whenever I do commentating, we always go down to the last, whatever the longest sheet is. So it really cuts the time between events.
Yeah, you just keep going. Well, I mean, these teams turn right back around and go back out. They're cutting themselves out of their afternoon snack time. I think they both go back out on the next draw. And they're really debating this.
Yeah, I wonder what they're talking about, where they want the rock to end, I guess.
They may be debating if they throw a draw around the other side and try and throw it to the tee line. Otherwise, they could try and take out that red rock. But I definitely see them indicating with their hands as if they were looking at the draw. The end decision looks like they're going for either the hit and stick, or maybe they think they can hit and flop underneath their guard just a little bit. If they hit and flop under the guard, they leave Cassie the exact same shot for her final draw. Okay, getting ready for this last shot to come here. This looks like a pretty solid weight.
Sweepers are right on it. It's coming over the center line.
Yeah, she had a lot of that center line right when she let go.
Just cleared the guard.
She's definitely
Gets it and
rolling
rolls
a little
outside.
bit. But so that's leaving Cassie Potter with the same shot she just threw. Imagine that's a pretty quick decision here. She'll go right down and try and repeat what she just did.
So ice makers are having a little bit too much fun.
I'm glad they have fun. They do
Curling
spend a lot of time on
is
this.
serious business.
I think that Kevin and Bill and Mark demonstrated for us earlier that might not be the case.
Yeah.
Okay, they jumped right on this out of Cassie's hand.
It looks
But
kind
they
of
jumped
light.
on the last one out of her hand too, so
Oh, that she's coming. Courtney's coming up.
Courtney's coming out to help. Although sometimes that's more for moral support than it is actual sweeping support.
That's what I think.
But they're going all the way on this one. They just got to be full 8 foot, so see if she gets there. Right
she
in.
does.
They swept that like they were scared, but they made that pretty easily.
All right,
That
so
puts a win for Cassie Potter on the board
her first
there.
win for the week. So, and then they're gonna wrap up and go back out. Well,
That
thanks,
they
Alex.
are.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's a good time.
Definitely.
All right, so everybody, we'll be back at 5 o'clock, and we'll be covering Richie and Sinnott. And I think,
Team Runin versus Team Sinnott.
yeah, Sean Murray is going to come down and do that one.
That will be fun. And then if anyone's looking at maybe coming out tomorrow, Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, we have the men's quarterfinals. That'll be 2 games. And then at noon, we have the semis for both the men's and the women's, with the final at 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
All right, peace out, everybody.
Bye.